Welcome, Lund loyalists, YouTubers watching on John Lund Unleashed and the Bay Area Sports Collective, those watching on X and Instagram and listening on Apple and Spotify. It's John Lund Unleashed and JohnLundUnleashed.com. Brought to you by Riopel Cosmetic Surgery and Laser Center. Right now featuring amazing stem cell technology. For all your pain and for the guys, check out the latest in low T and testosterone therapy to make you feel like yourself again. Riopel Cosmetic Surgery and Laser Center at riopelcosmetic.com. Now, all juiced up and ready to go. Here's Johnny.
What's happening? Thanks for joining us. It is Friday. I don't know why I keep putting myself in the corner there. It's a good way to start. Thank you so much for joining us. It's episode 88 for episode Freddie Solomon. Appreciate you hanging out on a Friday. Rainy in the Bay Area, man. Lots to get to. We will do roll call momentarily. If you're new to the show, thank you. Please make sure not only do you stop by, maybe you're watching on X at John Lund Radio. Maybe you're watching on Insta at John Lund Radio. Maybe you're on Twitch. Come on over to YouTube. Please make sure that you give us a follow. Make sure that you give us a like. Make sure that you subscribe. And make sure that you are having those alerts on so that you know when we are going live. We are looking live. Thanks for joining us, Bay Area Sports Collective on YouTube as well. Please make sure you subscribe in both of those places. If you don't know what Bay Area Sports Collective is, it's me. And it's Paulie Mack and Creative Tony from KMBR, and of course Tom Tolbert as well. And if you would have those alerts on, you would have known for Bay Area Sports Collective that Tommy had that great interview with Steve Young. So you move on over there and check that out. It's there in the jungles of Malaysia. No, they're just in Steve's backyard, but it was pretty cool. So check that out as well. Thanks for joining us on Facebook. That is my personal Facebook, John Lund. I guess I got to do something to put it on John Lund Unleashed. But both of those pages, if you could friend me up there, and you could hit me up at John Lund Unleashed. We put stuff on Facebook. So wherever we are, and really to put it in one ball of wax, just go to johnlundunleashed.com where we've got the shows, we've got the archives, we've got the podcast, which you can get on Apple and Spotify as well, and also the blog and all sorts of social media. You can buy merch there, all sorts of things at johnlundunleashed.com. All right, episode 88, of course, it's about Mr. 4000 Steph Curry. And right away when he hit that three, I thought to myself, can this record be broken? I did a little bit of math, which is not my strong suit, as you well know. So we'll get into that conversation. Steph, happy birthday at the age of 37, and he doesn't look like he's slowing down. So we'll get into that too. So Mr. 4000, happy 37 to Steph Curry. You do not want me to sing happy birthday, although I could sing the Maryland, why am I, God, it must be early in the morning. Oh my goodness gracious. Anyway, happy birthday. No, the Maryland Monroe, you don't want me to do that. Title contenders. I'm going to step up my belief in the Warriors as we were watching TNT last night and they were trying to debate the Warriors and where they are. I think we can go from, I can't remember the term I used before, but they're title contenders. I really think that. Jonathan Kuminga, I don't know if he believes it or not, but he had a very mature and smart response post-game after he came back and was very, very good in exactly what the Warriors needed him to be. The Jimmy Fred Dean part right there on the chalkboard, if you're new, we're just going down the chalkboard and then we'll do roll call and then we'll get this thing going. I don't think the Bay Area's had an impact player come in a trade at midseason or an in-season trade since Fred Dean of the 49ers, who led them to, or helped lead them to a Super Bowl as he was smoking at halftime of those games. But Jimmy Butler's just completely changed what this thing is going to be. If we were sitting here without Jimmy, and there's 15 games left, seriously, we'd be talking about Steph leaving potentially in the offseason. We'd be talking about a play-in game, which they still might be. It's unbelievable that Minnesota's just right there. And I keep looking up going, Minnesota's not that good. And the Warriors are hot, but there they are, just only one game out of the 7 spot. So they got to keep winning. So we'll get into that. What Mac Jones is, a lot of people hitting me up on social media telling me what Mac Jones isn't. So I'll tell you what Mac Jones is in my mind for the 49ers. Grades are out for free agency, even though it's not completely over. There's still some guys out there, a few guys that could help. Guys are going to get released, as I told you, because new guys are coming in. What can the 49ers do there? I do know that this, and it's got to be frustrating for fans. I've told you this again and again and again. It's being overrated what the 49ers lost. It's just what have they brought in to replace anybody, and it's not overly impressive, and I think that's the problem. But yeah, lots of people giving the 49ers an F of what they've done. Tolbert and Steve, we got that for you as well, as we'll delve into a little bit of that. Micah Parsons and Marcus Lawrence are getting into it. That's kind of funny as Lawrence signs in Seattle. Ted Lasso is back for season number 4. I'm anxious to ask you about that. Random stuff happens throughout the show, and the sweet, clean, family-friendly Caboose Pistol finishes things up every single show. Let's get out to the comment line and see who is in here early. As I post this thing early now. 1:52 a.m. Baba Booey is up, man. I'm very, very cool. Kyle, good morning to you. Tacky, good morning to you. Hello, Jeff at 7:23. Hello. John Holmes is up early for us. Red and Gold, look at that. Red and Gold, East Coast Red and Gold podcast are up, and they got the advantage because right now it's 11:16, so they're up and they're cool. I would agree with that. Had John Feinstein on many, many times. Tremendous writer. Season on the Brink. Read it as well. Great book. I don't think as many people read books anymore, but maybe books on tape. They don't have books on tape. John Holmes, I would agree with you 100%. However you consumed that book. I think it'll be a bit of both. I mean, I think we got to give Steph his flowers for 4,000, and I want to discuss that at the age of 37 too. He just turns 37 today. So yeah, I think we have a lot to talk about. There's still Niners stuff, Warriors stuff. That's kind of what we do, but we'll gauge it somewhat democratically on because I got all the numbers in front of me, and whether people are leaving or staying tells me exactly what people want to talk about. So we'll get into both Steph Curry, and there's still a bunch of stuff in regards to the 49ers. Plus I got to give you a little update from spring training. Although I'm at the point where it's like, all right, let's go. Regular season's going to be here. And I'll be there on opening day, by the way. I'm really looking at it. Hey, yo, good to see you this morning, Joy. It is always a joy. Oh, snowy this morning. It's rainy here, and I've lived in rainy climates. I couldn't live in Portland very long. That's where I met my first wife, but I only lasted there like 2 years. I could not handle, and it wasn't a hard rain. It was just kind of a misty, annoying rain most of the time, but it was still rainy and gray. And right now in the Bay Area, it's rainy and gray, and I think I'd rather have snow. I mean, when I lived in Salt Lake City, it would snow, but then it would be sunny because you were elevated up. And then if there was clouds, you could get up. I lived near Park City, and you could get up in like 30 minutes above the clouds. It was nice. And it didn't matter if it snowed because it was sunny and snowy. It was like you're on vacation or something. So that was very, very cool. Good to see Hurley Bird. Excellent. Lund heads, Lund loyalists, Lund heads, whatever you want to call it, is completely fine with me. Good to see you, JP, from the 510. Good morning. Everybody having a good Friday. That's good, man, that everybody's good morning. Hello, Todd. I haven't seen it a little bit. Passion. Oh, there's my guy. Make sure that you're following our good friend Walter, because, man, he does a great job on the Passion for the Pastime podcast / YouTube show. Let's get his numbers up a little bit. He is absolutely great. He's my former producer. He's a great dude, and he's got a ton of passion for baseball and for the Giants. Great podcast. Make sure that you're going over there. I'm telling you, a lot of places that you got to subscribe, but he's the best. Danny is in Phoenix. He was part of our Lund Loyalist chat last month, which we need to do again, by the way, for the Lund Loyalists. It was cool seeing Andres Biedrins. I have that video, my friend. I was at the game in Phoenix when I was 12. Wow, when he hit his first one. That's amazing, bro. Amazing you were there. That's very, very cool, man. Good morning to Skaters on Baseball. I totally dig it, man. What's up? He's saying hi to Pine Needle. We've already got a Hunter Pence reference. Warriors. We already got that. But we got to talk about Steph today. My goodness, man. That was incredible. Franco, it is great to see you this morning. And Jazz Fan, it's great to see you. All right. If I missed you, hi, JJ Raider. Hi, Daniel S. Light the Beam. Sorry about last night, bro. Your Kings looked pretty cooked. But, hey, man, we're cool in here. No worries whatsoever. Let's see. All right, let's go. All right, let's get to this. Hi, Rico, Triple X. Damon Jones is in the house. Let's go. Absolutely. Let's get going, man. We got a lot to do. So anyway, got a little roll call there, and it is great to see everybody, and happy Friday. And thank you for hanging out. One more thing, and you know what I got to do, because you know what? I was at Reapel yesterday, Reapel Cosmetic Surgery and Laser Center. I had talked to my wife so much about having the stem cell done that I actually had some stem cell done myself yesterday. So I had a little stem cell to check that out. So now everything that I'm telling you about, it's not going to be like overnight on stem cell. So I'll let you know how it goes. But I had some stem cell yesterday. I told you I'm doing the low testosterone. If you're feeling cranky, you can't lose that weight. you're tired, you're irritable, you're going, what is going on here? It's going to probably be low T. They'll do a quick blood test on you. And then you can do a procedure that is very, very short that'll take care of that for months. You don't have to go in weekly like I used to have to do, a big pain or gym fee too. So I could go in there and do this stuff. They don't do that. Dr. Riopel, there's no shell game, anything like that. They just do the procedure and you are good to go. So if you click right there with your phone right now, it'll take you right to the website at Riopel, and you can check that out. And it is awesome, man. So I'm doing the stem cell. I'm also doing the low T, the testosterone treatments. Like I said, months. You just do one procedure and it's months. You're not going to do it every single week. So check out my good friends at Riopel. Click on that QR code right now. Support the sponsors of the show if you would. That would be amazing. Really appreciate it. And I was just in there yesterday. And Dr. Riopel, by the way, huge sports fan. So like he's doing the procedure and I hardly even, remember anything because we were just talking. I was like, oh, you're done? All right, right on. We were talking about Steph and hitting 4,000 and everything. So it's really cool. Riopel Cosmetic Surgery and Laser Center. Check them out, please. Sponsor the program and not only do the procedures like the low T and all the other things that I'm telling you about, the stem cell, but anything you would expect Cosmetic Surgery and Laser Center to do. And I trust them and have for years. They're really great people. So anyway, Riopel Cosmetic Surgery and Laser Center. All right. Happy birthday to Steph. It is 37. Like we said, Mr. 4,000, as you can see, DeMar DeRozan, like, damn. And, I was thinking about this, and I'd love to get your thoughts on Steph on this Friday because we'll get into a lot of stuff. And I got video and stats and all those kind of things. But just for 1 second, as you can see the happiness he has in his face, just, man, I hit 4,000. And just how big of a number that is, we'll get into that. And if it will be broken and all those things, because that's the first thing you think of is anybody else going to hit 4,000? Is this record going to be broken? But here's what I know, that Steph was the innovator of the three. We wouldn't have it now, whether you hate it, like it, or indifferent, whatever. He changed the game, and very few people in sports can say that, in the way that he has done it. They just didn't shoot it like that. And it's funny. They'll say, like, this guy's made more than Bird made in his career, any of these great shooters, or Jordan could have shoot a three. And it was like, look, you got to understand, and this is why I don't really like comparisons and best ofs and even Mount Rushmores and he's the greatest. No, he's the greatest. No, she's the greatest. No, because it's just the game is so different. The three-pointer, Chris Ford hit the first one in NBA history in 1979 for the Celtics. May he rest in peace. And like I said, I was on the beat for the Utah Jazz. I was with Jerry Sloan, Stockton Malone. I've told you that. I was on the beat for the Portland Trail Blazers, the Rasheed Wallace, Damon Stoudemire, Bonzi Wells, Scottie Pippen, Steve Smith. That's the era in which I covered and was a beat reporter in the NBA. And you just didn't shoot threes like that. It was more of a desperation type of a thing. If you shot a pull-up three on the break with Jerry Sloan, if you remember who he was a great defender with the Bulls, but he was a staunchy head coach. And he was a great head coach. It was just, he'd yank you out of the game. Maybe if you were Jeff Hornacek or something who was on those teams, maybe not. But it just wasn't a prevalent part of the game. And so for Steph to bring it on, so even if someone breaks the record, and I'll tell you about that in just a second because I did a little bit of math, which is not my strong suit, but nobody's going to be the type of entertainer that Steph is. And this is what I mean. In 10 or 20 years, when, your kids or grandkids or whomever it is that you're talking to one day and someone's going to break this record, somebody's going to come in and shoot more threes just because the volume of threes keeps going up and up and up and up and up. So Steph, when he was early in his career, and I'll play some cuts for you in just a second, and Beaters in 2009 and all this it just wasn't as prevalent. And then now dudes are jacking like 15 a game and you're not even thinking about it, 12, 15 a game. I mean, I'm talking per guy. And then last night, early on, especially, that was just the story of the game. The Warriors are hitting all these threes. The Kings couldn't. Kings came back because they were hitting some. And that's what it was about last night. Now, we're going to get into Jonathan Kuminga. We're going to get into Jimmy Butler. We're going to get into where the Warriors are in the Western Conference because TNT, Shaq, and Kenny and Charles spent an inordinate amount of time talking about it. And as we're coming down the stretch here with about 15 games, so we'll get into all those things. But so I did a little bit of math, and that is where Mr. 4,000, happy birthday, will it be broken? Because probably like me, like you, or like me, like me, yeah, like me, you were probably thinking right when he hit the shot, is anybody going to break this record? Can this record be broken? Well, it's not hard math. So let's think about it like this. I looked this up this morning. Anthony Edwards right now leads the NBA in three-pointers made per game at about 4.1. So if we take 4.1, and let's say a guy plays 80 games, which most people don't, but let's just say somebody's an absolute Iron Man all of a sudden, that's 323s. All right, so 323s, and Steph will make 403s in a season. So somebody who comes in here and can shoot it like Steph, and more guys are going to do this. But let's just say, conservatively speaking, I'm not even going to say a guy's going to make 400 a season. Let's just say that person averages 4.1 over 80 games or close to 80 games. That's 320 in a season. 320 in a season times 15 seasons, you're at 4,284, 4,284. So it's not like, however you want to do the math, nobody plays 80 games, Lund, whatever. Point is that number is going to keep going up. And the foreseeable future, now that Anthony Edwards is at 4.1 a game, it's not ill-conceived to think that somebody's going to come into the league that's an upper echelon shooter. And unlike Steph in 2009, who it just progressively went more, and now we're just into the stratosphere as far as three-point shots are concerned, but somebody's going to come in and average like 5. So that's a lot easier math, right? It's easy math if you do 5 a game. They play 80 games. That's 400. Now somebody's going to average 400. He just hit 4,000. So now that's easy to say if you made 5 a game over 80 games, it's only 10 seasons to 4,000. Now, again, that's a lot, and that's 80 games. And so, give or take 5 here, 5 there, whatever, because everybody's got those things on. You're tired. No, I'm not. No, it says you're tired. You can't play. You're tired. So it's not like it's an unbreakable record. We always talk about unbreakable records in sports. Like, I don't think anybody's going to get Cal Ripken's record. Nobody's going to do that because the thing is going to tell them you're tired. I might sneeze. Excuse me. You might, I don't know. I don't think anybody's getting Joe DiMaggio's 56. I just think that's a crazy record. I remember growing up and Pete Rose got 44, and that was insane. So, there's certain ones that I think are unbreakable because the first thing everybody said last night, let me just pop this up for you. There it is right there. So there's Steph's 4,000. Harden's not going to catch him. Obviously, it seems like yesterday he got by Ray Allen in New York. Lillard still playing, Clay still playing, Reggie, of course. Reggie would be way up there, too, if the 3 had been as prevalent. And it's funny to see LeBron there. That's just out of longevity. LeBron is the leading scorer. LeBron's on the 3-point list, and he's not even a great shooter. I mean, he just does so many things well. So I respect the hell out of LeBron because he's on these lists, and he's really not he's a great all-around player. Passing, rebounding, that's kind of his MO more than just being a scorer, but there he is. But anyway, there's Steph at 4,000. So it's not like Steph has got an unbreakable record, and the only reason he doesn't is because when he first came into the league, he wasn't jacking 12, 15 three-pointers. Nobody was, but now everybody is. And so guys are going to come into the league, and there is going to be a Steph type of shooter in terms of not better than Steph in shooting, but just someone from a volume standpoint, because that's what the league is. And they're going to have that from day one. So you're going to get some young kid who plays from day one, and you don't have to go to college. I mean, you should be able to just go straight from high school if you want to. And that rule will probably change. But I mean, you're going to get a 19-year-old kid, regardless, he plays a year in college. You're going to get a 19-year-old kid who comes in, and given technology in the way that Steph Curry is at age 37 playing and LeBron at age 40 is playing. And so you're going to get a kid come in at 19, have the longevity of these guys, be a great three-point shooter. And he doesn't even have to be Steph in terms of his marksmanship. He just has to stay around a long time, shoot, average 4 to 5 a game, and he can break Steph's record at some point. Now, having said that, Steph's not done. Steph's not done shooting three-pointers. He's got 4,000. I wonder how far he can put that thing out there. If Steph can average, 400 threes a year, and he can play 3 more years. So, I mean, Steph's probably going to get 5,000. So now 5,000 instead of 4,000, that's a totally different conversation, right? Now you're looking at a guy who has to play 17, 18 years, has to play 75, 80 games, and has to average about 5 threes. So it's debatable, but somebody's going to come in and have a Steph Curry-like career. And I don't mean as far as dynamics, and I want to get into that in just a second. To me, he's always going to be the best one because he was the first one. Everybody tries to imitate everybody in life and in business and in sports and all these kind of things. Nobody's going to be Steph Curry just because of the way he plays the game and the enjoyment of it. And he had the post-game press conference again, not a misstep ever from Steph Curry. So there'll be a guy who comes in and probably breaks that record or pushes that record at the very least. They're just not going to be Steph Curry. in terms of how they play the game. That's the dynamic nature in which Steph plays the game. You're not going to be able to explain it. And sometimes it's frustrating because you try to explain certain players that you saw play and they just kind of look at you and they just look at the numbers. Young people just look at the numbers and they, whatever. And when Steph Curry's record gets broken, which it inevitably will, they'll go, well, he's not the best. And it's like, dude, he was the best. He was absolutely the best. So anyway, there's the number for now. None of those guys are going to catch him. Obviously, Harden, Lillard, Thompson, LeBron. I'll play with him. Reggie would be way up that list, as would Ray Allen if they played in a different era. So maybe Steph's going to end with 5,000, and I don't know if anybody's going to catch him, but that's kind of what it looks like right now. So give me your thoughts, and I'm going to throw out some things right there. I'm going to play the actual three itself. I do have the Bia Drench, which I think is absolutely hilarious. Plus, let's talk about the game a little bit and where the Warriors are. We'll do that momentarily. I thought Kuminga did a great job in returning. Draymond Green, and I always say, well, you can't, Draymond Green's going to start. He's not a three-point shooter. For as many things as you can say about Draymond Green and so forth, two things happened last night with Draymond. Number one, there was a foul called on Draymond. I don't know if you caught this. There was a foul called on Draymond, and he didn't say one thing to the official. Like, I don't know that I've ever seen that. Like, he didn't say anything. Like, he turned around and just walked to the end of the court. And he wasn't pissed off. Like, he actually acknowledged the fact that he committed a foul, and it was legit. I've never seen that. Honestly, I've never seen that. And then the second thing is he can shoot threes. I mean, corner threes. But, it just plays to the fact of just because a guy comes into the league and is something, that he doesn't have to stay there. Certain guys work on free throws, certain guys work on threes. I'm not saying I want Draymond Green to take a corner three with the game or the season on the line in the playoffs, but still, he's made himself a guy where if you're not going to run at me at all, I'm going to take that and I'm going to be able to make that. I get nervous sometimes when Draymond hits an early three, like say it's a top of the key three, and I'm thinking, please don't, no. And then he'll take like three more because he thinks he's hot that night. Like, take your corner three, dude. Like, know what you are. Take that corner three, the right corner three, which they were drilling last night. Take that thing all night long. You can hit it. I'm down. But in terms of, like, all over the floor, no, relax. So anyway, what's going on with the Jamesons? Love Jamesons, by the way. Love Jamesons. Got to check my Jamesons there. Why did I leave I clicked that up there and then I left? That was a little bit weird. Hang on just a second. Look at that. I leave. We must have something going on today. Because usually when I click something up, you go and then now I'm leaving. What am I doing here? Hang on a second. Maybe I have something wrong. Maybe I've got the wrong setup here. Let me try this again. I want to make sure that I don't. Yeah, see, I'm leaving the screen somehow when the things pop up. Whatever. It's not that big of a deal. I just thought, something screwy is going on here. No big deal. Yeah, I would agree with you right there. The Kareem record took 34 years. Like, sometimes you're like, that's never going to be broken. And it's only going to be broken because you look at Steph Curry and you go, that's not going to, you think it's not going to be broken, but it's the way we all know this. It's the way he came into the league and it just wasn't prevalent. He changed the league, but now guys are walking into the league. It doesn't matter either. Big, small, wing, whatever, power forward. Like, you're just jacking up threes. Anthony Edwards, when I think of Anthony Edwards, who has the most threes, it's 4.09. So let's just call it 4.1 a game. I don't think of Anthony Edwards as this great three-point shooter. He's a volume three-point shooter. He's not Steph Curry. That's what I mean. If somebody's going to come in, and Edwards is not I wouldn't consider him a great shooter. He's good. He can get to the rim. He's all sorts of different things. He's a great player. I just don't consider him a great three-point shooter. So when when a guy like Steph comes in, has the eternal green light and comes into the league right away where it is today and shoots 15. And then all of a sudden it's going to be like, oh, that's easy. 5 of 15 is 33%. So they're going to be higher than that, or else they're not going to shoot 15 of them. So it's going to happen. It's just people got to understand that. By the way, I'm down with this. The random part of the show is starting early. I'm going to click on something in just 1 second, but so it is going to be broken at some point. It doesn't mean that person's going to be the best 3-point shooter of all time. And then what it's going to be one of those old debates. Like right now, everyone wants to debate whether Jordan was better than LeBron. I covered the guy, went to tons of press conferences, saw him against certain teams. Like, I think he's the best because I saw it, and I don't have to, 3-point shots and all the different things that people want to use against Jordan. I'm just like, he could have done anything. He could hit threes and no problem. It's just not what they did. I don't know why we're having a corned beef and cabbage conversation. I'm not a fan of it, although I will say that there's a new, I don't know if anybody's in here is in Walnut Creek. There's a new bar in Walnut Creek, and it's slipping my mind right now. It's on Locust Street. And I was in there meeting, actually a business meeting. I'm very business-like. And I was in there for a business meeting like 2 weeks ago, and they had this thing on the menu where anything deep fried, right? If you deep fry anything, it can taste good. So what they had was, it was corn. I know this sounds weird, but it was really good. So it was corned beef and cabbage, but they deep fried it. And I was like, it sounded too good because I like corned beef, like a good corned beef sandwich or pastrami corned beef or something like that. Come on, man. Like Carnegie Deli, that big. Like just it's I don't know. It just hit me weird. I was having like a black and blonde beer, a Guinness and a Bass combined, and it just I don't know. It just sounded good. So it was an appetizer, and I said, let's see what that's all about. And they deep fried it and like put something on the outside of it. So they always tell you if they deep like. I was in Dallas, and they have the Cotton Bowl every year. They have the Texas State Fair, and I'm not kidding you. They deep fry everything. Deep fry Snickers bars, deep fry Coca-Cola. I'm not kidding. They have a liquid form. Not everything's great. Deep fry, like anything, a boot. Like they'll deep fry anything at the Texas State Fair. It's unreal. And so their philosophy is if you deep fry something, it's going to be really, really good. So there was a deep fried corned beef and cabbage type of a thing. And it was outstanding because the cabbage was like crispy. Like it wasn't like a normal soggy cabbage. And then the corned beef was like really moist. I know I hate that word. Was really like, I hate that word, and I hate using the word hate. But it was just a really good corned beef in the middle. Juicy corned beef and like a crispy outside. And the guy was telling me about it because I was looking and I go, I'm not a corned beef and cabbage guy, but man, this sounds good. And the guy was like, no, it's really, really good. I have a lot of good St. Patrick's Day stories, by the way. Today's the 14th, right? Today's the 14th. So 15, 16. So Monday, is it Monday? That's we'll get into St. Patty's Day on Monday, and I'll tell them St. Patrick's Day stories on Monday. I'm not going to tell them today because I think Monday, right? Yeah, I cannot stand that word. I can't even believe that came out of my mouth. That right there. Yeah, I don't like it. Deep fried butter. I don't know if they ever did deep fried butter at the Texas State Fair, but I'm not kidding you. I got to look it up now. All the different things they did. I just remember like they did deep fried Snickers, deep fried Twinkies, deep fried. Like that's where everything emanates from. I don't know if people realize that, but when you see these crazy things, it's like this is deep fried, that's deep fried, blah blah blah. It always starts in the Texas State Fair, and if you know anything about Texas, it's like they'll do anything. Like they don't care. And every single year they got to come up with something new because then everybody goes to the Texas State Fair and is like, "What are you deep frying this year?" And I can't remember everything off the top of my head, but it was just it's unreal. It's just unreal. Black and tan. Sorry. What did I say? I said a black and blonde. They do have a black and tan and a black and blonde. The black and tan is with the bass. You're right. And if they use like a lighter, like a lager or something, they'll call it a black and blonde. But you're right. I'm wrong. You're right. Absolutely. We've already got references now to Antonio Cromartie on the show. Very, very nice. We're already going randoms here. But anyway, want to get your thoughts on Steph, 37th birthday, Mr. 4000 here in episode 88. Will it be broken? I just told you that it's very, very likely. This is not going to be one of those records that is not going to be broken. You're going to get a person in here that just shoots 12 to 15 threes a night right from jump, right from the beginning of their career. And because of volume, not because they're a better shooter, but because of volume, they're just going to get the record. Like, I don't consider, as weird as this sounds, LeBron James is not the greatest scorer in NBA history. He's got the most points. I give him that. And this isn't a rip on LeBron James. He's got the most points because of longevity. He's not the greatest scorer. If you wanted somebody, and I'm not into the debate of who's the greatest, what I'm simply saying is that if you want to say who's the greatest all-around player of all time, I mean, LeBron, he's not the greatest defender, but LeBron can handle it at his size. LeBron can shoot it okay. He's got the threes, but he can pass it. He can rebound. He can do all these different things. So if you wanted a guy who was like the greatest point forward of all time, I mean, that's LeBron James. I don't think it's without a doubt. But in terms, it's weird because he's the guy who's got 50,000 points. but he's not the greatest scorer, but he has the most points. I don't consider him a great scorer. So it's going to be the same thing. Somebody's going to come in, they're going to break Steph's record, but and people are going to equate that who didn't see Steph play and say, well, that guy's the greatest shooter. Not the greatest shooter. Like Anthony Edwards right now has the most threes in the league. He's not the greatest shooter. He has the most volume. So that's all I'm saying. Very, very simple. What else in terms of Steph? Let me play this. Oh, let me do this. I haven't done this yet. What am I thinking? Here's what it looked like last night. A little camera work from the crowd last night. Here is Steph's 4,000. Let me do this again. I think I've started. Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. Oh, we're having some screwy stuff going on today. But let me just do it one more time. Here we go. So there you go. There's Steph's 4,000, and here's Ali LaForce and Steph right after the game.
They do it at home. The 2.974 record in New York was great because it was an unbelievable environment in Madison Square, but to do it in front of my home fans, and it was a weird game because I didn't get many attempts up, but to finally get in the third, I felt the energy. It was special.
When the team played a video with some of the most important people through the journey, your very first three-point assist, Andres, came on. Do you recall that assist? And when you think back to that first three, what do you remember?
Yeah, I only shot 1 3 my very first game. That was the second game. I saw the highlight of the play, his little pin in. He threw a great pass and knocked it down. But the first of many, so pretty cool. My vet from 2000.
So that was pretty cool that Beatrice was there. And then this is really, really cool. And I got to be honest with you. I don't know what you think or if you care. Maybe it's because I'm in the media, so I bring this up. But whether you like them or not, the Niners do a great job in bringing back and doing events. The worst thing I ever saw with the 49ers, and maybe you were at this game, maybe you realize this, Eddie D had just got put into the Hall of Fame into Canton. And I remember because Papa and I were doing Radio Row from Moscone Center, and that was before Super Bowl 50, and we had him on. I should bring that interview back. It's really, really good. Anyway, we had Eddie on. It was really cool. And then that next year, they did a ceremony for him, and it was against the Patriots, and Brady was playing for the Patriots still, and they were really, really good, and the Niners stunk. And I only know this because I had friends coming into town for the game, and I did pregame, the normal pregame that I do for the Niners, and I took halftime and postgame off because my friends were in town, and it started just raining like crazy. And remember, I'm used to just covering games in the booth, in the media booth. So, of course, I don't dress for the occasion well. And I've got a leather jacket on, which was so stupid, and like a hat like this. So I'm getting pounded. And we had pretty good seats right in the end zone, probably 2-3 rows up, just get absolutely pounded. And I felt so bad because we went up to there was a suite that can be all right. You used to have a big corner suite. And so I called up there when Lee Hammer was running the joint, and I go, dude, like me and my friends, there's like 10 of us, and we got to get up into the suite because we're getting pounded with rain. The Niners are getting their butt kicked. It's no fun. We just want to go drink some beers and hang out. And they're, yeah, no problem. So we go up into the booth, and it's halftime, and I look down, and Eddie DeBartolo is getting his acceptance into the Hall of Fame, but he's being honored by the 49ers that day, and it's just pounding rain, and everybody had run up to get cover, and so there's nobody in their seats, and Eddie's getting pounded with rain, and it was like, oh. But my whole point in saying all those things is the Niners do a great job of it, unless it rains. It's not their fault. The Giants do a great job of it. The Warriors do a great job of it. Like that, it's not always like that. I can tell you from having covered lots and lots and lots and lots of other teams, it's not always like that. So last night, this is just really smart. This is just somebody that is detail oriented. So obviously, Steph just talked about his first 3-pointer, and the assist came from Beans in Phoenix. And then they pop him up on the big screen.
What's going on? It's Andres. Just wanted to say congratulations on reaching 4,000 career threes. That's incredible. And in case you forgot, I assisted you on your first career three in 2009 in Phoenix. So no worries, you can thank me later.
I mean, I just think that's so cool that they do something like that. Like that's somebody thinking, okay, how can we make this thing just really, really great? I got an idea. Biedrins was the one who gave him his first assist. Let's get him. Let's get a video of him up there. Like, that's just the kind of stuff you're like, dude, nice. Good thinking. Johnson's got his stinky cap on. Way to go, Johnson. Very nice. That's the kind of thing where it's like, because, but, it's good marketing department, man. So anyway, there you go. There is Steph Curry. There is 4,000 threes. I do think at some point it's going to be broken, but Mr. 4,000, that is the cover of the show today, and he deserves it. Steph Curry, as you can see there, people in the back. Boy, were those seats? I see right to Curry's left shoulder. You get the younger kid there and the girl and everything like that, and the guy looking away. Those are some seats right there. I mean, seriously, those things are costing you a dime or two. I mean, seriously. What's this angry guy? Then look over the left shoulder. Is that no? That's not a. I was going to say maybe that's an usher or something. That's not an usher. Like, he's angry. It's like, Steph just hit 4,000, man. Put a smile on your face. What's wrong with you? He's the only guy like not smiling in the whole picture. Look at that guy over the right shoulder of DeMar DeRozan. The guy's just like sitting there. He's got like the blue. You can see his like collar. It's like blue. Like, what are you so cranky about? Everybody else in the whole scene is like all excited, except for you. What's going on with you, dude? What's up with your life? All banged it all in. He's all angry about it. All right, here's where we are on the chalkboard today, episode 88. Steph's birthday. He's 37. Happy birthday to you, Mr. 4,000. Will it be broken? Yes, it will be broken. It's not one of the unbreakable records of all time. We can have that conversation. The most unbreakable record right now in all of sports is Cal Ripken. What is his? 4,267, something like that? Is that what it is? Double check that for me, will you? Here, let me do it. I'll do it. I'm lazy. I'm asking you to do work. You're like, dude, I'm not supposed to work. Cal Ripken record. I'm going to say 4,267 off the top of my head. Oh, are you kidding me? 2,632. What are you, Lund? Are you insane? 4,26. What is that? That must be hits or something, maybe? I don't know. I don't know where my head was at on that. Lou Gehrig had 2,130. Look at this. Ironman streak for Ripken began on May 30, 1982, and ended on September 19, 1998. Think anybody's ever going to play in 16 consecutive seasons and not miss a game? No way. AC Green did it. AC Green cheated, by the way. I used to work with Ron Boone with the Utah Jazz Radio Network, and Booner had what he thought was the record between the ABA and the NBA. What was AC Green's record? AC Green, the Virgin. How many did he play in? 1,192. Nobody's going to do that either. Because the meters is just no way. So anyway, Cal Ripken to me is the one that's not going to be broken. DiMaggio's 56 is going to be very hard to break. The reason why DiMaggio's 56 is going to be hard to break, the 56-game hitting streak, is because the media is so relentless and every single day. And I remember, like I said, Pete Rose 44-game hitting streak was 1978. And even then, like, media was kind of ramped up, and it's nothing like it is today. Like, could you just imagine the pressure and how many questions you'd get and these side media sessions that you'd have, and it would just get to you. There's just no way. So I would say right off the top of my head, 56 isn't going to be broken. Ripken's isn't going to be broken. No one's going to play an 1192 like AC Green did. What else off the top of my head? Passing yards are going to get broken all the time. Steph's 4,000, or maybe by the end of his career, 5,000. I just gave you the math on that, which math is my number one skill. So obviously I'm right on that one. But yeah, the Steph's maybe 5,000. That's going to be broken at some point. So there you go. All right, let's get to title contenders. Let me get some thoughts on. Maybe I'm sure I'm missing something. What else? What else is not going to be broken? What else is not going to be broken? Jerry. Steph reminds me of Jerry. That's a good call right there. Yeah. I mean, the thing about Jerry and his records, like the NFL is, you all know this, but I'm just going to remind everybody, it's a massive passing league. And for Jerry's records to hold up to even as long as they have right now is insane. Like, it's just that's crazy. So yeah, I could look that up, Tacky. I got to look that up. Luis Castillo probably did something like that. Was he a 38? Maybe it was a 40. Oh, that's a great call right there. How can I not remember that? Yeah. Let's see where it is. Where is it? There it is right there. Wilt's 100. Although, Kobe got 81. I mean, that's so crazy. It was against Toronto, and he got 81, and I remember that to a certain point, and it was like 81. It just seems so astronomical. And you're right in this way, because they, unless it's a really close game, teams don't keep guys in. But if you remember, like, they screwed around with this, but there was a 70-point game a couple of years ago. I remember when David Robinson scored. What did he score? 71, I think. in a game. There was a scoring title, and it came down to like David Robinson had 71. I can't remember who else had something like that too. George Gervin, I think, got into that number too. They had a battle for a scoring title, and they let guys in. They don't do that anymore. I mean, it's just how it is. But, what about I don't know. I don't think anybody's going to try to get the Warriors 73. I think that like the Warriors 73, and they didn't win the title. And I think every team is like, no. We're not doing that anymore. We're not pushing it. Although I'll go to my grave with this. They're not going to. They didn't lose that title because they went out and tried to win 73 games. I don't think they were gassed. I don't think it was like that. And that's going to be something when they do their version of the Last Dance, and the Warriors do their Last Dance version, and they play that whole thing back, and they do that doc, and it's going to have a lot more cool stuff in it because everybody's got their phones and everything. So that thing is just going to be. Can you imagine the type of footage that the Warriors are going to have, and they're going to be able to have from the players and their phones and all the different ways and all the different things? It's going to be 1,000 times better than the Last Dance, just because of the footage that they're going to be able to have. Like I covered those teams, like I said, and I hardly have anything. Like I found that tape with Steve Young. You didn't have a phone. You weren't walking around doing all these stuff. I so wish that I had all that stuff. The stolen base record. Great call, Nathan. Yeah. Nobody steals bases anymore. Like, I still don't get it. Like it's like, why not? There's Walter chiming in 1406. Yeah. That's no way. Nobody does it unless unless there's some sort of a revolution in terms of the way that the analytics look at stolen bases, which I just don't get it. If you're really good at stolen bases and you can steal a base, I don't know, 80-85% of the time, and you get a free base, wouldn't that be a good thing? Wouldn't you think that would be? I mean, it just analytically, just off the top of my head, and being the non-math person that I am, I just think that the percent in which certain people can steal bases at, and that's a free base, so you can walk or whatever, or get on first base, and then all of a sudden you're on third base. I don't know. I just think analytically, wouldn't that be a positive versus the chance of getting caught? But if you don't get caught very much, I don't know. I could be totally wrong. Kenny Smith, that's a good call right there, my friend. I didn't mean to do that one. Johnny Vandermeer, back-to-back no-hitters. That's really good. Yeah, Dom, that's a great call right there. 73 is going to be really, really hard, especially because look, let's not be naive. There are things being done in professional sports that are probably not on the up and up, and I don't want to accuse, like, I'm not accusing LeBron or Curry or anybody, these guys, that it's amazing what they're doing, and they're working with these trainers. Like, we know Steph's trainer, Pop and I had him on about 1 million times, and it's amazing what these guys are doing. So I'm not accusing anybody of anything. It's just that if they did it in 98 and then everybody freaked out, I can guarantee you that, that all of a sudden, that's a great call right there too. 47 consecutive wins for Oklahoma. Oklahoma, let me tell you now, it's Oklahoma football. Oh my, the big uglies. Anyway, yeah, those are good. I love that conversation, by the way. You could go on and on and on about what won't be broken. Steph's will be. But just in terms of, like I said, the most confident I'm in any record not being broken. Ooh, that's a great call right there. Wow. 511. Yeah, you're right. Because they don't care about wins anymore. It's a great call, Kenny Smith. They don't care about wins. They take guys out of the game. So 511 wins, like, wins used to be a big deal. Like, you got to win 20. Nowadays, it's like, whatever. You win 15, you win 12, you're good. You're fine. That's good. That works. You can win the Cy Young winning 12. What did King Felix win the Cy with? 12, something like that. And you can win it with 12 as long as you're dominant in that way. I think didn't Jacob DeGrom win the Cy Young with a low man? Like, everybody does now. You don't have to win 20. It used to be like you win 20 or 22 games. It's like all of a sudden, that's the guy. Yeah, he's going to be, I don't care what his other numbers are. You got 20. It doesn't work that way anymore at all. What do we got? Breaking news. What do we got? Okay, let's get to it. Are you saying that, it's funny? I used to think this too. Are you going with it's a stupid record on Cal Ripken? Yeah, there you go. Okay, I see you up there, Ripken. Yeah, I guess, I used to think that too. Stockton assist, bro. That's a good call right there. That's a really good call. Stockton assists and steals, I think. Double check steals for Stockton too. I don't think that anybody's going to get that number. Is outrageous. Steals and assists by Stockton are outrageous. Yeah, I've got this. By the way, I've got this number in there, Enrique. I have the $321 million. I don't know why I keep jumping off the screen on that whole thing, but that's a good call right there. Anyway, lots of good records. Good call, man. Thanks for the interaction. I love it. All right, here's where we are. Episode 88. Steph's birthday is today. It's his 4,000th three-pointer. Will it be broken? We've discussed unbreakable records, title contenders. Let's get to that. We're not even at that point, and we are 45 minutes into the show. So they were talking about this a lot last night during the game and what the Warriors were, and they were discussing, and, Chuck is Chuck, and I'm not angry with him, but he was saying that halftime, because the Kings had come back a little bit, Warriors are just blowing their doors off early with the three ball. And then Sacramento starts coming back, and then Charles Barkley, the kiss of death, and says the Kings were going to come back in the second half. And you knew at that point that if you had a bookie or some way to bet on a game, that you should have bet on the Warriors, because he's never right, especially with those kind of things. So that's exactly what happened. By the way, are people popping up with Wilton averaging 50 a game? Nobody's going to do that. You're right about that. I mean, Wilt was like 50 points, 20 boards, like seriously unbelievable. But anyway, I digress. So they were having a debate last night, and not a heated debate, just, talking about it, which, by the way, can I just take a side ramp real quick? I hope ESPN doesn't screw this show up. I really do. And having worked for them for 2 years, there's a real distinct possibility that they're going to. Like, look, we really like the chemistry between EJ and Charles and Kenny and Shaq, but we got to put Screaming A in there, or we got to put Perk in there, because I just have a feeling that they're going to put those guys in there because Charles and Screaming A are kind of having a thing right now, and they're always up against Perkins. And it started with, Perkins said, of course, one of his many stupid things. And then Charles said something like, I'm not going to, a guy who averages 5 points a game. I'm not, so ESPN is just licking their chops to get Perkins and Stephen A, Screaming A in that. And I really hope that, say, if I'm Charles Barkley, right, in my new ESPN contract or Disney contract or whatever, hi kids, it's Mickey. They're owned by Disney. And I really hope that there's something in Charles' contract that says you can't mess with the show. Like, this is the show. Screaming A can't come on. Whomever whatever it is, Screaming A, that, whoever the big debate guy is, whether it's Perkins or somebody else, like, nope, not doing it. There's a reason why for years ESPN cannot figure out their NBA coverage, because they don't get it. Like, it's a game. Have fun. Enjoy it. Laugh. They scream and yell too much. They want to do hey, embrace debate during the day. Like, you want to do the dumb yippity yap talking head show, and you take that side and I'll take this side, and you want to say something outrageous and everything like that. That works fine during the day. I'm not a big fan of it, but I don't have to watch it. I'm busy during the day, so I don't watch it. At night, like, make it something, whether it be entertaining like Inside the NBA, whether it be informative like some of the pre and the post game shows, whatever. Just, if you notice during the day, the Fox guys, like the guys from Fox don't go on those stupid shows during the day. Like, you never got the guys like Howie Long has worked for Fox, or Terry Bradshaw's worked for Fox. They're never on those stupid daytime shows. They never are. They don't do it. They're like, yeah, I work for Fox, but I'm not going on those shows. And so I hope Inside the NBA has some sort of in the small writing where the lawyers play. I just hope that there's something in there that when they go to ESPN next year, that they can't bring on anybody else, that the chemistry of that show is so good that they can't bring somebody on, because if they do, it's like, they're going to ESPNize that whole thing, and everybody's going to yell at each other and scream at each other. And then it's just, that was a great show, but it's over now, totally jumping the shark. I hope that's not, I don't mean to go on a tangent on that, but I hope that doesn't happen. Anyway, so they're having a whole debate about the Warriors last night and where they belong. And I'm ready to say, and it says right there, title contenders. I'm ready to go title contender. I really am. I think they're title contenders. And if I look the East in Cleveland and Boston, can they beat Boston? I seriously doubt it. I mean, Boston is, they got the championship thing now. They got that kind of confidence. I think it's going to be really tough to beat Boston. But if you look at it, the Western Conference means you can get to the finals, is what I mean. And I say this every single day. Oklahoma City's young. Memphis young. Denver scares me. Lakers scare me. Houston's young. And then you got the Warriors. Now, I keep saying this in an assuming way that they're clear of the play-in game and they're playing tournament, and they're not. So they're and Minnesota's only one game back. They've won 6 in a row, because I just kind of ran them off. I'm like, whatever. That was a stupid trade of Cat. Minnesota's done. They're not. They're sitting right there, and they've won 6 in a row. So all due respect to Minnesota. The Clippers, again, they're only 2 back. I don't know how they've been doing it all year. Old James Harden, Norman Powell's been really, really good. Kawhi, Yeah, it's unbelievable that they're doing this all without Kawhi. The Kings we saw last night, the Mavericks have a ton of injuries. The Suns stink. So I'm not anything beyond the Clippers. I'm not even really looking at, but I'm looking right there at Minnesota going, if somehow somebody gets hurt on the Warriors and they're older and everything else, but both those teams have won 6 in a row, but I keep acting as if the Warriors are beyond the play-in, and they're not. And the play-in, if you're the 7 versus the 10, there's a massive difference because you win a game and then now you're in the tournament. And right now, if we've said this, I didn't do the playoff bracketing today, but the 6-3 right now, as you can see right there, is the Nuggets. I don't like that. I'm not saying that I would rather play an extra game and be down to the 7 and then play Memphis in the first round, but I would. I'd rather play Memphis in the first round than Denver. It's Jokic. I'm not afraid of anybody else on that team. I don't care who it is. Jamal Murray has in the past been okay during the season, and then he just has another gear that he hits in the playoffs. I get that. Westbrook doesn't concern me. Ben Brown doesn't concern me. Aaron Gordon's okay. Michael Porter Jr. Like, as a whole, I look at them and I go, outside of Jokic, but there is no outside of Jokic. Nobody can match up with them. And he makes everybody in his team so much better because not only do you have to worry about him, it's just he's such an amazing passer and team. He's great. He's like Steph. It's like, okay, take Steph off the Warriors. Lottery, please. The Nuggets aren't great around him, but they play well with him. They understand what's going on. And anybody who plays Denver, that's a problem because you just can't match up with him. You just can't. There's nobody who can match up with him. So that's a problem. So I don't love where they are right now. And I don't love the fact that I'm assuming that they're going to be clear of the Timberwolves and they're not. So they have a lot of work to do. There's no doubt. They have a lot of work to do in this whole thing. And 38 and 28. So that puts us at 17, 16 games, whatever that is. I like I said, I hate math, 16 games. So we're at 66 in. So 16 games left. A lot of things can happen clearly, including having to play in the play-in. As great as they've played, unless I look at the standings, I forget that they're there. But I'm ready to kind of kick that up a little bit and say, as I put on the chalkboard right there, they're title contenders. Tell me what you think of that. I do think that because I look at those teams that they have to play. I don't love Denver. I don't like playing the Lakers, but there's a lot of young teams in the West, and the way they're playing and what Jimmy has done and what I put under, and I'll get to JK returns in a minute, but I'm going to jump from title contenders to Jimmy/Fred Dean. We were just talking about unbreakable records. I'm going to put something again on your shoulders. In terms of the Bay Area, give me guys that you got at midseason, in-season trades that have worked out. And again, we're not at, we haven't done this for 1 or 2 or 3 years, but I'm just saying in-season trade. In the season they got moved to a Bay Area team. Fred Dean beats it because they won the Super Bowl, and Fred Dean was with the Chargers. He held out. He goes there. They win. I mean, that was unbelievable. He's smoking cigarettes at halftime. So Fred Dean is the best in-season acquisition in Bay Area sports history. Give me another one. I mean, I know you can go to the Giants and a Cody Ross who they picked up in free agency or somebody like that. It happens. They've had good ones, off the top of my head. But Fred Dean is the one that jumps to mind. But Jimmy has completely changed what this team is. I'm going to play a cut from you from Jonathan Kuminga, and I'm like, wow, maybe he's going to get it. Maybe Jonathan Kuminga is going to get it, and it helps and it's maybe Jimmy Butler taking him under his wing. I don't know. But I underestimated Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler was such a jerk in Miami. I thought all he's trying to do is get money, which I 100% I do believe. But just the more you're around him, the more you hear from him, the smarter he is, the better passer he is. The night in and night out, you watch him, and he has an Andre Iguodala quality about him, both on and off the floor. So he tends to calm people down. Then he gets on the floor and he kind of figures out what the team needs. And if the team's going through a shooting slump, which last night they didn't, but he'll calm everything down. He'll get to the free throw line. He demands energy on both ends of the floor, but he hasn't to this point done it in a negative or demonstrative way, which Draymond Green can kind of do. And since he came aboard, Draymond Green is not nearly, to me, as demonstrative or out of control. So I don't know. It's like a calming serum for the Warriors that Jimmy Butler has brought on. And, oh, yeah, he's a really good player. So it's just, we talk about chemistry all the time. And I pound the table for chemistry because I've covered so many teams that have a massive amount of talent and they don't go anywhere. And I've covered teams that are, the talent's okay, but they do have that it. And they're really, really good, especially come playoff time. And you and I have talked about this a million times. There are teams who are in baseball 162 teams. There are teams in the NBA who are 82-game teams, and there are teams that are playoff teams. And to me, as I look at the Warriors, if I'm in an opposition, I don't want them walking in my building because they are a playoff team. Because part of the playoffs is do not panic. Don't panic in a game. Don't panic in a series. It's something that I played this the other day for you. Steph Curry was on with the local radio station, and they asked him if he could win a championship. And the first thing he said was, the question was, I think, why can you and why can't you? And the why can you part is, well, obviously we've done this before, and we're going to walk into some of these buildings and we're going to know. The only difference is if you walk into Denver, for example, they know too. And if you walk in and play the Lakers, they know too. But the Rockets don't, and Memphis doesn't, and OKC doesn't. They don't know. They haven't been through the gauntlet. And so when you're in a close series, they know, which is important. When they're in a close game, they know, which is important. And just to go back to keep it on track a little bit, the Jimmy/Fred Dean on the board right there, it's different. I'm not saying that Fred Dean was this chemistry guy. They needed a pass rusher, and he just filled in perfectly. But what I didn't realize, even though Jimmy Butler has been in the league forever and ever and ever, is just what he brings to the table in so many different ways. You know, he's a calming influence. He's a veteran, but he's a great player. And then in terms of after the game, and I take a lot of stock in this, just the things he says. And then I'm going to play something for you here in just 1 second on Jonathan Kuminga. And this is something Jimmy Butler would say. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong here because he's coming back and I haven't heard from him in a while and everything, but this is as mature as I've ever heard Jonathan Kuminga sound. And I'm going to give some credit to Jimmy Butler. Maybe it's unwarranted, but let me play for you Kuminga, who was absolutely great last night. What do you have, 18 in 20 minutes, something like that? And his game was calm. I can only remember one time off the top of my head where I went, no. And it was kind of an unwarranted three where he was on I think it was on my right side of the court. And it was early in the shot clock and it was off a rebound. And I'm thinking, just swing it. Swing it a couple more times around. Let's see if we can get a better shot here. The best shot with 14 on the clock off of a offensive rebound is not you taking a three. That was like the only time where I thought, but he was calm last night. He was getting to the rim, had a couple of nice dunks. I think he said it in the post game, and I don't know that it's in this clip, but he said the game slowed down. And that's exactly what I was thinking as I was watching Kuminga. It looks like it's slowing down for you, dude. But I think it's because he was talking to Jimmy Butler. So here's Kuminga last night talking about what Jimmy's game has meant to him as he sat from the sideline and watched it since January. Well, not January 4th, but since he's been out since January 4th.
As you see, Jimmy is very smart. He could get a wide open layup, but if you see you just wide open, just very small space, he's going to throw it to you. So it's just about knowing how to move around him because he's going to get you the ball. He's going to get you to where you want to be. And just being outside, watching how he playing, obviously his connection with Steph and Draymond and Moses and DP and the rest of the guys, it's just something I'm still trying to, learn and obviously it's going to get better, it's just our first game, but just being around him and watching how he move,
Yeah, and it's the exact thing that I kind of noticed in watching him last night was it just seems slower. He seems less hectic. He doesn't seem, because my major concern, and I said this on yesterday's show, was he's going to come back. He needs he wants a new contract. He's got an agent in his ear. He's got friends. There's social media. All these different things that influence these guys nowadays. And he's thinking to himself, I got to get the biggest contract I possibly can. And the only way to do that is to force things. And all of a sudden, a lot of times you didn't realize JK was on the court last night, and you look up and he's got 18 points in 20 minutes, and he did it in a very professional way. He did it in a way that blended in with the team. And I think that's a direct reflection, and maybe I'm giving too much credit to Jimmy Butler, but I'm sure a million times, whether it be his teammates, coaching staff, whatever, just said, watch Jimmy. Just watch what Jimmy does in the calmness that he does it in the pace that he does it in. You don't have to be hectic or frantic, or you don't have to worry, the contract. Just hang on, just relax. It's going to come to you. The game's going to come to you. And that's what it did last night. Like I said, he might've done it at other times. I might've gotten up and gotten a beer at one point, but I do remember along the right sideline after a missed shot, he jacked up kind of a three where that's old Kuminga. Don't do that. But other than that, it was, he can get to the rim. He can glide to the rim so easily. You know, he can get to the rim anytime he wants. He can get inside. He doesn't have to force it. He doesn't have to shoot threes. He doesn't have to be this all around, just, defend the positions that we ask you to defend, get to the rim. There's enough shooting on this team right now to where you don't have to force a three. I mean, if you're wide open, I get it, but that's what teams are going to give you. I'm fond of the phrase, there's a reason you're open. And as far as Steph Curry's, or excuse me, as far as Draymond Green is concerned, that used to be the thing where Draymond Green, it's like, dude, don't shoot the top of the key three. Now you want to shoot the corner three, fine, but know where your strengths lie. And last night in watching Kuminga, he wasn't forcing it. Things slowed down. He had a very mature response in the postgame right there. That's an incredibly encouraging game for Jonathan Kuminga. And why does it matter? Because if they're going to do what I think, and again, I put up in the chalkboard for the first time, I think this season, in fact, I know it for a fact, it says title contenders. They are. I don't think there's any doubt about it. They are title contenders, which means they can win the West. Now, can they beat Cleveland? I don't know. But Cleveland hasn't done it. But Cleveland's really good defensively. They could win it. I mean, I think Cleveland has 2 15-game win streaks, and I always say that's an 82-game team, not a playoff team. I think they're both. I think Boston is just kind of sitting back going, whatever. They can, win all the games you want to win. That's fine. We're going to play in the playoffs and probably beat. I mean, Boston's just, they're really good. So can they beat, I think those are the two best teams in basketball. So can they beat those two teams? I don't know. That's going to be tough. But title contender means you could get there. And there was no way that before they got Jimmy Butler, I would ever say they could get there. I said before they got Jimmy Butler that they're going to trade Steph in the offseason because they're sitting at 10. And what's amazing is, like I said, they're sitting there at 6, and I'm assuming they're not 6, and they're not going to be 7, but I'm going, how is Minnesota hanging around? So as much as I can give them an accolade, still, you're like, you're a title contender if you're 6 at the very worst. I don't know that they're a title contender at 7, even though they would only have to play at 7. You don't have to play one game. You're in, then you play Memphis. So that's different. Being 10, like, good luck. Good luck. If you're the better team, you don't like short series. It's much like in the NCAA tournament. You can lose a game. 16 has beaten 1 now. So you can lose a game because it's one game. Steph can be off. Steph can sprain an ankle. There's all sorts of things can happen in one game. The longer you go, the better the chances are that the better team wins. So, yeah, I want to play that kind of a game. I don't want to play a one-game series. Now, the leagues love it. The league's like, woo! They're getting jacked up about ratings and everything. Steph Curry's in a one-game playoff? Yeah. Well, I mean, we've seen it. You just don't know. So I hate that. But they get into the 6. I have confidence that this is a title contender. Give me your shot. Give me your thought. So title contender, JK returns. I gave you the Jimmy/Fred Dean. We're in the middle of the chalkboard there. We're going to flip to the Niners in just a second with what Mack is, but I played everything for you. There's Kuminga. I played you the 3. I played you Steph. I played you Beadrinch. Anything else before we flip here to some 49ers talk for anybody? Let me make sure I get out to the comments and make sure that I have not missed anything when it comes to the Warriors that you want to discuss. And you know me. We can always flip back to things. People will throw me if we can do random stuff. If somebody throws out some Warriors questions or thoughts, but I've given you a lot to chew on here. And you're having I did not think we were going to have a Pete Vukovich response, but the old Brewers pitcher. Yeah, he did have a big thing of chaw in the side of his, let's see. Anything else there? Okay. People are having all sorts of conversations here in the chat line. Very, very cool. I dig it. It's a Marco Scutero reference, up in the rain, looking up into the rain. Okay. Very cool. All right. Okay, that'll be good. All right, let's get into some 49ers talk. Before I do that, we are about an hour 3 into the show. Thank you for joining us on a Friday edition of the show. If you're new in here, please say hello to us. Hit us up on the chat and say, hey, what's up? Brand new here. Everyone wants to embrace you. Everyone wants to say good morning to you, and we love it. Great community that we have built here at John Lund Unleashed. Always have fun every day. 10 a.m. 8 a.m. Monday through Friday Pacific, and even tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific tomorrow. So I don't leave you on the weekends. Breaking news, we don't leave you on the weekends. Anything happens of note, we'll jump back on. So make sure that not only do you subscribe at John Lund Unleashed, please hit the like button. It does help our algorithm, which is very important, so that they send our content out to the right people. So if you do that for me, that would be amazing. Also have those alerts on so that you know when we go live, because we're not just Monday through Friday at 8. We're not just Saturdays at 10. We go live anytime we do need to go live, whether it be a local story, national story. We go live all the time, so make sure you have those alerts on. Also on Bay Area Sports Collective, if you'd please give us a follow on Bay Area Sports Collective, that would be outstanding. That's our other YouTube channel, and you can hear and see Tom Tolbert's show. In fact, the conversation he had with Steve Young in their luxurious backyard, that's on the Tom Tolbert show right now on Bay Area Sports Collective. Also, when Paulie and Tony, which I was on their show the other day, and we had an absolute blast when we're on when that show is going live and all those kind of things. So make sure that you click on Bay Area Sports Collective and you know when those guys go live as well. Plus, we'll go live for certain stories and so forth. Thank you this morning for watching on X at John Lund Radio. We got a bunch of people on X this morning. Good morning to everybody on X at John Lund Radio there. And also on Instagram and Facebook and Twitch. Let me just check in with Instagram really quick and see how everybody's doing. Yeah, very, very cool. All right. So everybody is hanging in there as well. So I want to make sure we say hello to everybody. I want to make sure if you have questions, comments, thoughts. Good morning, Lund. There you go. I'm looking right there on Instagram. So if you got any questions on Instagram too, I pop in there too, so we can do that as well. But anyway, good morning. Make sure that you follow all those things. And for all things Unleashed, please go to johnlundunleashed.com. Your supers, you can get your supers up there as well. If you want to get your question 100% up on the board, supers are the way to go. And we really appreciate that as contributions to the show as well. Todd Kabam John. That's a good call right there. What's in that, man? So you drop, what shot do you drop in there? Is it a Jaeger that you drop in the car bomb? No, you drop a whiskey in there, don't you? Don't you drop a Jameson's in there? Why am I blanking on that whole thing? That's crazy. Why would I'm blanking on that for some weird reason this morning? I don't know. Maybe it's just a Friday. I'm just blanking on that whole thing. Anyway, all right. Let me get to some Niners things. Do I have any fancy charts or anything when it comes to the Niners? By the way, that's Steve's backyard if you haven't seen it. And that's what you're going to see if you go to Bay Area Sports Collective. You'll see that entire interview. It's about an hour of Tommy and Steve shooting it. But yeah, that's Steve's backyard. It's beautiful. What else do we have as far as – okay, so let's hit the Niners stuff. Couple of things to hit. First of all, what Mac Jones is before we get the Niners getting an F, and I just showed you Tolbert and Steve and this Lawrence and Parsons thing and all that. Let me explain one thing on Mac Jones, because we got into Mac Jones a little bit yesterday. And there was confusion, I think, at least if I'm using social media as the guide or the gauge here, on what Mac Jones is and what Mac Jones isn't. I don't think, and I hope this didn't come across this way yesterday, I don't think that Mac Jones is competition for Brock Purdy. I don't think Mac Jones is leverage against Brock Purdy's contract, anything like that. I'm not suggesting that whatsoever. But in the day and age, we would be stupid if we didn't have this in our mind in some way, shape, or form, that when Sam Darnold can turn around after being the backup here in San Francisco and then go to Minnesota in a very similar offense under Kevin O'Connell and then go to Seattle and get the kind of contract he got. And again, it's not as big as you think. It's not 110. It's actually like 255, to be honest, if you look at it. But anyway, I digress. Sam Darnold got a solid contract in Seattle. He's their starter. They're excited. He's 27. They think he can be a long-term guy in that offense, which Clint Kubiak runs. Clay Kubiak is the offensive coordinator of the Niners. Clint Kubiak is now the offensive coordinator in Seattle, and they'll run a similar style as most teams do of Kyle Shanahan's offense, and so they think Sam Darnold can fit within that offense. So the reason I go back to Sam Darnold is that a lot of guys are going, hey, Kyle Shanahan, quarterback whisperer, did it with Darnold. Let me see if he can do it with me too. And then we had that debate yesterday, and I think I popped this up from the 21 draft, and let me do it one more time to talk about him. So there's Lawrence, who I think is underperformed. Zach Wilson, bomb. Trey Lance, bombed. Justin Fields, people are split on him. There is no split. He's not good. He can't win from the pocket. He's a tremendous athlete. The Jets gave him $20 million. That's what dumb organizations do over and over and over and over again. He hasn't proven that he can get beyond one read and then take off out of the pocket, and that's not going to win in today's day and age. It's impressive, and he'll get 1,000 yards, and he'll be on a bunch of highlight films, and the Jets will lose. But then you go down to Mac Jones at 15, and just before I get to the Mac Jones conversation, the first round in 2021, and the reason why, and I said this yesterday, this is interesting, is because a lot of these guys this year or last year were up for extensions, and it's the whole reason you should not panic on quarterbacks. If there's one not there, then just don't take him, because the 49ers didn't move up from 12 to 3 so that they could not take a quarterback. So it's not like they were going to take Jamar Chase or Jalen Waddle or Penny Sewell or J.C. Horn or Patrick Surtain or Micah Parsons or Rashawn Slater or Alavera Tucker, who any of those guys would be better than any of those quarterbacks outside of Trevor Lawrence, who I still think has upside. But it just tells you that, I mean, that's a great first round. Kyle Pitts, I thought, was going to be better. He stalled out in Atlanta, but early he looked really good too. So Chase, Waddle, Sewell, Horn, Surtain, Devontae Smith, Micah Parsons, Rashawn Slater, and Alavera Tucker, those are all really good football players. And there's a handful of Hall of Famers in there. I mean, it's early, but I mean, you could say that Chase, Sewell, Surtain, Parsons, I mean, those guys have chances. And there's like 4 or 5 guys right there that have a chance to go to the Hall of Fame. And yet these teams were so desperate for quarterbacks. Speaking of the Jets, the Niners, the Bears specifically, and then Jones, they didn't have a chance to get him because he went 15, but teams get so blinded by quarterbacks. And I think the same thing's going to happen this year. I like Cam Ward, but I don't remember at Washington State anyone saying Cam Ward was going to be the number 1 overall pick in the draft. And I watch a ton of college football. So like Cam Ward, Shadur Sanders, and now Jackson Dart is coming into the conversation. Sorry, those 3 guys aren't better than what is on the board, guys like Abdul Carter and so forth. And we'll get more into the draft. I don't mean to go down the road of the draft right now. But the point is that you can't lock in on a quarterback. You got to take the best player. And that just tells you right there. And a lot of these guys, like I said, are up for extensions. Chase wants a $40 million. Waddle's already signed his. Sewell's already signed his. J.C. Horn just signed a 4 and 100. Surtain's got his. Devontae's got his. Parsons is up for his. Slater and Tucker, I don't think, have theirs yet either. But so let's get back to Mac Jones on this whole thing. So I was thinking about this morning. So that's what the draft will look like. And a lot of people were thinking, and Krug had asked me this on his show last weekend, well, what would you think of Justin Fields? I said he doesn't fit at all. He's just one read and run. Kyle would get driven crazy. There's just no way. And then people asked me about Zach Wilson. And I said, look, I ended up going to Utah State. I graduated from Utah State. So BYU was like our direct rival. And so I always watch a lot of BYU football just to root against them, Fred Warner. And Zach Wilson, his junior year, he was erratic. Or his second, I think he came out as a junior, but it was sophomore year, whatever it was. He was really erratic, and he was good, but I mean, he kind of was backyard football. Then his last year at BYU, they had a senior offensive line. He never got touched. They played as an independent. They didn't play anybody. They're playing like Troy and Southwest Louisiana and all these teams. And so he's running around back there, and he's making all these crazy backyard throws. And the Jets somehow got impressed and everybody else and thought he was going to be really good. And right away, I was like, I don't think this guy's going to be very good. We know the story of Trey Lance. We know the story of Justin Fields. Where Mac Jones is interesting to me, and again, he is not competition as of this moment. He is not leverage as of this moment for the Niners against Brock Purdy. But what's interesting about it is Kyle likes him. Clearly, Kyle likes him. I don't know the inside story. I know what I've heard. I know who I've talked to. I've been down to the 49ers a million times. You know this. We did draft shows that day. We did draft shows for years right next to the draft room of the 49ers. So I've heard a thing or two. And they liked Mac Jones. Now, is the story true? And I think Schefter has reported this, that the higher-ups, which is basically Jed York, looked at that picture of Mac Jones with the cigar and the not so toned body. He had the dad bod going on. And if Mahomes has a dad bod, I don't know what Mac Jones had. It's like times 10 of that. And they had won the national title and he has the cigar and all that kind of stuff. And it was like, we're not drafting that dude. Like, we're not drafting a non-athletic, but remember, that's what Brady looked like at the combine. And I'm not saying this guy's Brady, but when Mac Jones was a rookie, he was getting Brady comps. Not by me, but in Boston, they were like, this guy could be Brady. He had a great rookie year. It was something like 23 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, goes to the Pro Bowl. Lots of people like Mac Jones. There was a debate of whether he was better or Trevor Lawrence was better. Everybody loving the guy. And remember, at Alabama, his senior year, and he had a boatload of talent around, just a ton. So he just had to be, point guard guy. Don't screw it up. He had 41 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. His career at Alabama, he was 56 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. So the numbers were huge. And you remember Kyle standing next to Belichick, and he had his Starbucks, and, that's who they're going to take. And Some people thought that Kyle got talked out of it at the last minute just based on the fact that we're not going from 12 to 3 and taking Mac Jones. That's just optically is not right. This doesn't look good. So fast forward a few years later, I don't know what happened with Mac Jones. We'll find out because everyone's going to rewrite everything and drudge up all this different stuff. But as a rookie, he was really good. That's all I know. And then lots of guys didn't like him. People reminded me yesterday, he's on the ground kicking guys who would intercept the ball, that, he wasn't really a good guy. Teammates didn't like him, whatever the case may be. Maybe he's been humbled. I have no idea. I don't know Mac Jones. Wasn't good last year in Jacksonville, but it takes time. And he got thrown in there as a rookie. And could Kyle Shanahan take him in and say, okay, because as I told you yesterday, damn it, I forgot. I was going to grab the Dan Orlovsky stuff, but it doesn't mean anything because, like I said, ESPN guys, they just yip-yap for the heck of it. But Dan Orlovsky said years ago that, Mac Jones could do what Brock Purdy's doing. This was during Purdy's rookie year. And I remember the segment, and Orlovsky said, well, Mac Jones could do these things. Well, we'll see. So I don't take it as leverage. I don't take it as competition. I take it as Kyle Shanahan looked at his quarterback room and said, okay, what do we want to have in here? And it's obvious because Zach Wilson went to Miami. His contract was up. Justin Fields, his contract was up, goes to the Jets. And Mac Jones is sitting out there after being a backup in Jacksonville last year. And he's thinking to himself, well, I did like this guy coming out, just like he liked Darnold coming out. He didn't make any bones about it that he liked Darnold's skill set when he came out. Now, Mac Jones doesn't have the skill set of Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's a good athlete. Sam Darnold can move. Sam Darnold's got, as Mayoko said, got a bunch of crap about it, but because people misconstrued it. And Mayoko said during training camp that year that Sam Darnold throws the best ball that the Niners may have ever seen, and that includes Steve Young and it includes Joe Montana. People are like, they misconstrued it as he's saying he's the best quarterback. He's not the best quarterback. It's just the pretty ball. I was on a radio station in Seattle, my friend Ian Furness, which maybe you're watching from Seattle because I do Ian's show every Tuesday, and I told Ian, I said, because he covers the Seahawks season camp every year. And I go, you're going to go to camp, and early in camp with Sam Darnold throwing the football, someone's going to write that it's the prettiest ball they've ever seen and this and that. And it doesn't mean he's the best quarterback. And that's not like the Seahawks have this great QB tradition. I mean, they have Russell Wilson, Geno Smith just left, Dave Craig, Jim Zorn, Kelly Stauffer. Like, they don't have a 49ers quarterback tradition in Seattle. Wilson's clearly their best. Dave Craig might be their second, Mr. Small Hands. But anyway, we don't need to go through the quarterback history of the Seattle Seahawks. In camp, I told him, you're going to hear someone write and say, this is the best ball we've ever seen come out of a Seahawk quarterback's hands. That's just what it is. So that's not Mac Jones. I'm not saying that. But there's got to be something there of why he was picked where he was picked, much like I've always said that about Darnold. Mentally, you could see, and I saw this early in camp too with Darnold, he didn't see it. He wasn't picking up the offense. But Mac Jones has an entire offseason to do it, and we'll see what he is because there was a reason he was picked 15th. He was able at Alabama to distribute the football to really, really good talent. And say what you want about the 49ers offseason, and we'll get to it in a second. I think they'll fix the offensive line in a couple of different spots, left guard, and I wasn't going to pay Banks that money. I think they're going to fix the line, and then it comes all the way down to defense. We'll get into that whole conversation and why they've gotten an F by everybody as far as their free agents. Their offseason is concerned, and it's hard to argue with that. But in terms of Mac Jones, I think it's a good signing. I think it's a smart signing. I think it's, hey, does this guy have Darnold kind of upside? The only thing I'd like to see, and the only thing they didn't get with Darnold is sign the guy to a 2-year deal with a team option for the second year, because if you pick that up at a low number, then you can at least get something for the guy. Because you can't franchise a guy because the quarterback makes way too much money, and they're going to you're not going to keep him at that number. Just say, look, we'll sign you to a 1-year deal, but for us to rehab you with the quarterback whisperer that is maybe Kyle Shanahan, because he did it with Sam Darnold and restored his confidence. It's not a physical thing with these guys, man. I've covered lots of teams and lots of quarterbacks, and it's the mental side. I've told you, Joey Harrington in Detroit, he was Mr. Positivity walking in, and by the time he had left, he just got beaten down, and he had no confidence in himself. And I knew him in college, and the guy could throw, and he was a really good player, but he was in Detroit, and it was depressing, and it was a negative atmosphere. And by the time he left, it was like, I don't think I can play. Well, you didn't lose anything physically. You were like Darnold did in New York. You were seeing ghosts. You had no confidence whatsoever. And that's what Kyle Shanahan is trying to rebuild in this guy. All I would say is it's a 2-year, $7 million deal. That's what I mean, that's nothing. in today's day and age. And so the second year, you can be like, hey, we rehab this guy. He's really good. Let's get something for him. Because with Darnold, it was like he went to Minnesota for nothing, and you rehabbed him. In quarterbacks, as we talk about a million times, there's not enough of them. So if I got a guy that I rehab and people are seeing that he does have upside, and there was a reason why he was taken 15th, I want to get something back for him. That's where it needs. That's where I think they erred with Darnold is sign him to a 2-year deal and say, look, we'll rehab you, but in return, you got to give us a second year so that we can trade you somewhere and get something, and not just rehab you for nothing so that you can go kick our ass in the Minnesota game. What was that, second week of the year when you hit Justin Jefferson for that long throw? Like, dude, we don't want that. We want to get something for you. So there's my thoughts on Mac Jones. Love to get your thoughts on Mac Jones. Not competition, not leverage, but intriguing. And Kyle liked him. I know that much. I know for a fact that Kyle liked him. So I don't think that's bad. I think that he's the number 2 quarterback in the room. Number 2 quarterbacks, people get confused. There's not enough quarterbacks to go around. A number 2 quarterback is supposed to win you 2 or 3 games. Beyond that, your season's pretty much lost if Purdy goes down. So there's where I am on that. As far as the overall thoughts on the 49ers, this is, you already know this, but this is via CBS. Other teams have spent $321 million on 49ers free agents. This is not the part that bothers me, and we've gone through this a million times. Aaron Banks gets 77. That's a joke. Hargraves stunk, and they're going to pay for it for the next 2 years. Malik Collins wasn't good. Leonard Floyd had 8.5 sacks, which confused you into thinking he was good. The other 600 snaps, he sucked. He was the 102nd ranked edge rusher. Dre Greenlaw hurts. There's just no question about it. Dre Greenlaw hurts. And if I had any piece of advice that I could go to Jed York with, is like, I get it, dude. You're trying to get the finances under control, but draw the line at all these other guys but Dre Greenlaw. Like, that was one guy that you needed. And I know Jed still wants to win, but and I get it, 3-35, and he's coming off an Achilles, and you're sick of eating money, and I get it, man. But that one's gonna hurt. I mean, I saw Dre Greenlaw yesterday and his family get introduced in Denver, and I'm like, that doesn't look right. Like, that just does not look right. That's not right. He shouldn't be there. Ward, we understand because he had the off the field issues, and his wife was never coming back here. Afunga's not a loss. I'm sorry to tell you. Afunga hadn't been good since 2022. $345 million. He's always hurt. I have no issue with not re-signing Afunga or anybody else as far as that class is concerned. Debo had to go. Then all of a sudden, all these other guys go, and everyone's freaking out about Debo. It's like, well, they drafted Pearsall to take his place. He couldn't get open. He said it wasn't his fault, and then he dropped the ball against the Rams. I'm sorry. At 30 years old, he has a running back body, and that's where his body's going. He's beat up. So if he goes to Washington and he's absolutely great, you know what? I'll say that I was wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong on Debo. So the only guy on that list right there that I go, damn, you should have re-signed him was Dre Greenlaw. The number went up. I've told you the story. The 3 linebackers the night before free agency started, it jacked up his market. He was the last one left of the competent linebackers, and his number got jacked. And in the past, Jed would have stepped up and re-signed him. There's no question in my mind. But he had it set in stone. This is what we're doing this year. And he didn't want to deviate off that. And if he could deviate off one, it would be Greenlaw. And they should have. That's the only criticism I have. The rest of those guys, they're not good. Or they got overpaid. Hargrave wasn't good. Banks got overpaid and wasn't that good. Malik Collins, the Browns will find out. Leonard Floyd, the Falcons will find out. Afunga, the Broncos will find out. Ward's really, really good. I got nothing to say about Ward. In 24, he wasn't. In 23, he was. I think with him leaving California, going to the Colts, I think Charvarius Ward is going to go back to his old form, and that's going to suck for the Niners, but he was never going to stay. He couldn't have with the situation the way that it was. And the 49ers during the season, this is the other thing that makes me laugh, they made these decisions a long time ago. They gave Demo Lenore, let me just pop that up one more time. They gave Demo Lenore a big contract. And regardless of what happened with Ward off the field, he was never coming back. So all these people are freaking out. We knew Banks was leaving. We knew Hargrave was leaving. We knew Collins was leaving. We knew Floyd was leaving. We knew Ward was leaving. We knew Huff was leaving. Like, we knew all these things. And people are freaking out. That's not the reason to freak out over the Niners. The reason is, and let me pop this back up because this is where we are today, and I don't know if anything has happened this morning. So if anything has, please let me know. But this is where we are, the free agency tracker. I've popped this thing up a million times. So who's left? There's nobody. Rodgers, we don't talk about him anymore on this show. Running backs, they don't need. Receiver-wise, I am surprised Amari Cooper is not off the board. I'd still be interested in him, even though they signed Demarcus Robinson. Cooper Kupp, a lot of people think in Seattle. Elijah Moore is an interesting one to me if these guys are cheap. And that's the criticism I have of the Niners is the people they've replaced them with, the cheap meter is unbelievable how bad some of these guys are that they've signed, I think. Offensive line-wise, I get it. People are going, right there, Jedrick Wills, I don't know his story, but the Browns took him early. He was good early, and then he stunk. And see, that's another guy where I'm like, oh, let's see what this guy is all about. He's a former high pick. Dahlman didn't get as much money as I thought, but they didn't address center, which is fine. I didn't like a lot of centers. Would they go after a Von Miller or a Darius Smith? It sure doesn't seem like it. Aziz Ajulare is a guy that I'm kind of surprised that we're not hearing his name. He's a former second-round pick in the 21 draft, by the way, in the trade draft, and he hasn't been signed. Amenahu was really solid when he was with the 49ers. I would think he would be, but they're not doing any of that. That's the one thing is even with the guys, the numbers dropping, the 49ers are not even doing that. Like these are the second-tier guys even, they're not even going second-tier guys. I would have liked Tomlinson. He got way too much money after he got released. Again, in general, that's not a ton, but given the 49ers finances and what they want to do this year, it is. Greenlaw's deal is not huge at 3-35. That's disappointing, no doubt. They weren't going to sign DJ Reed at Ward we talked about. I'm not a Douglas guy. Anybody else on it? Asante Samuel Jr., I'm a little bit surprised. Again, he's had some injuries. I get it. But I would have thought maybe, depending on what he's asking for, probably asking for too much. Safety, I would have absolutely loved to get an adult in the room at safety, but Holland too much. Bynum was the guy I really liked. Fungo we've talked about. Mooring got way too much money. So the market was just way too much for them. And I don't mean to rip your eyes out of your head right here as we flip. I don't care about any of these other teams and what they've done. Let's just go down to the Niners real quick. And here's where the problem lies. Farrell, I have no issue with. DeMarcus Robinson, I have no issue with. Mac Jones, I have no issue with. I don't understand the long snapper situation. I guess what they're doing as far as special teams is concerned, because I like Tabor Pepper and I didn't think he was bad. But I think what they're trying to do in that situation is the special teams were so bad last year that let's get the stench out. Now, what's amazing, and I've been hit up with this many times because I am the president of You Don't Draft the Kicker in the Third Round Club. Everybody all these guys are exiting. Jake Moody is not. I will tell you this because I know this for a fact. They're going to bring in real competition in training camp. And so he's going to have to win that job. But here's where you start scratching your head. I understand, okay, special teams sucked. I get it. Richie Grant, pure special teams player. Luke Gifford, the linebacker, pure special teams player. Jason Pinnock, he's made big plays close to the line of scrimmage, but you've got a guy like that in Malik Mustafa, so I don't really understand it. Patrick Taylor, whatever. Dre Brown hurt a lot with Seattle when he did play. Givens, rotational guy. Robinson coming off a knee injury. Barch, don't know. And then you go down to the guys that released or traded. I understand that. I've told you this from the get-go. I'm not freaking out over the guys that they let go outside of Dre. But in terms of who they replaced him with, Grant, Gifford, and Pinnock, to me, are all special teams guys. I get it. But I don't see a player. Farrell's going to replace Juszczyk. DeMarcus Robinson in the short term will replace Brandon Ayuk, and then long term is going to be the third or the fourth wide receiver. I have no problem with that whatsoever. Trey Brown is hurt all the time. That's not the corner I was thinking. Like I would have thought Asante Samuel Jr. more than Trey Brown. Trey Brown's hurt a lot. Was hurt a lot in Seattle. I just don't. There's nobody. Like if you look at every other team, there's at least one guy. And again, I'm not a huge free agency guy. But with all the needs they had and with a few of the names that I just showed you right there, I would have thought, like, I'll give you a great example. Pittsburgh's not a huge free agent team. But, Darius Slay 1-10 is not bad. I don't like Randolph. Gainwell's not bad. Like, there's at least a couple of guys who go every team, and, they got DK, everything like that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying free agency. The Eagles, they didn't go crazy in free agency, but there's a couple of upside guys right there. Josh Uche, the kid that, $1.92 million for a year. Now, look. He's going there because they're Super Bowl champs. I understand that. But, A.J. Dillon, there's some guys that you're like, okay, I get that. I don't love what the Jets did. I think that Justin Fields, it's just chasing your tail constantly for the Jets. But I'm just, I love the two signings at the top of that one for the Giants. Debo's a guy that I wanted. Holland's a guy, but, those are guys who are going to be too expensive. I get it. The Saints didn't have anybody, by the way. The Saints had the least amount of money in the league. They signed Justin Reed at 3-31. So at least, New England was drunk. They had the most money in the league. Milton Williams, Carlton Davis, Harold Landry. I mean, they went crazy. I wouldn't say what they did was good. Minnesota. Again, this is a team that probably will regret a lot of this. Freeze is a guy that 5.88 for a guard. Sorry, I don't know how that contract is constructed, but come on. Jonathan Allen, too old. I wouldn't have signed him. I know the Niners are in the mix. Ryan Kelly, I don't think that's a good signing, even though the Niners needed a center, didn't love it. Hargrave, we know. So I think Minnesota pretty much overspent. And that's kind of, if we look at Minnesota, that's the team that Jed York didn't want to be. Because in 2 years, they're going to regret Freeze, Allen, Kelly, and Hargrave. They're going to regret those, I think. I like that they signed their own in Byron Murphy. That's a nice one. I like they signed their own in Harrison Smith and Aaron Jones, guys like that. I like that if I'm them. But at the top of that right there, because they feel like they're close, they went out and spent a bunch of dumb money, and I think they're going to regret it. Raheem Mostert ended up on the Raiders, by the way. James Daniels, a guy that I like. Right there, that's not a ridiculous contract. He's coming off an Achilles. He's 27 years old. That was a guy in the past that the Niners need a left guard. Instead of paying Aaron Banks $4.77, you paid James Daniels, who was with the Steelers last year, and good young guard, $3.24, and it doesn't kill you. So those are the kind of deals, and they just didn't do that. And the Rams, they don't have a ton of money, but look at the top two guys there. Devontae Adams, he's not what he used to be. I don't think he's worth $23 million, but that's a nice signing in wake of losing Cooper Kupp. And then Poona Ford had a great year, and that's probably an overpay, but he had a great year with the Chargers last year. He was a top 5 defensive tackle according to Pro Football Focus. Anyway, it's just kind of like everybody got these presents to open, and we got socks and underwear. I mean, it was really a socks and underwear offseason for the 49ers. And you lose the guys, that's one thing. I get it, and I was pretty much thinking they were going to lose all those guys that they lost outside of Greenlaw. That's the only one, as I reiterate that over and over and over again. But it's just the response to it all. I'm going, man. I mean, there's not one guy that they signed as a free agent that I went, okay. I don't mind the Mac Jones signing, but if Mac Jones is your best signing in free agency, most intriguing signing in free agency, that's not good. That is not good. Having said all those things, did anybody see what Ambry Thomas wrote? Is Ambry Thomas even on a team? Like, what an idiot. Legend says, I wasn't the only one asking to get up out of there. Like, Ambry, like, dude, you suck. You sucked. You made one play as a 49er, and you were a third-round pick. One play. You got an interception of Matthew Stafford down the right sideline to finish that game in 2021. Other than that, and by the way, Ambry Thomas, I'm glad I had this. I mean, first of all, you suck, and you would die to be on the 49ers right now. They cut your ass because you're a third-round pick, and Dima Lenore was a fifth-round pick in that same draft, and he kicked your ass. But look at the guys taking, Ambry Thomas, who just said, I was looking to get up out of there. Ernest Jones right behind him. Baron Browning. Amon-Ra St. Brown was taking 10 picks after you dumbass. How about Drew Dahlman, who we wanted? 12 picks after you. How about Cam Bynum, the safety that just signed with the Colts, went to Cal, the Vikings? If we'd have taken any of those guys outside of you, and there's a handful of guys that I didn't even, Ramondre Stevenson's better than you. Like, dude, John Bates, the tight end just re-signed in Washington, is better than you. Derek Barnes, the linebacker between Amon-Ra and Dahlman, is better than you. Like, every dude on that list is better than you. Like, shut up. Ambry Thomas is acting like seriously. Like that's serious drunk stuff. Like, you had to be drunk. Like, they didn't want you, dude. You sucked. You made one play your entire career here. One. I wasn't the only one asking to get it. You didn't ask. They cut your ass. You got cut, dude. There's a big difference. You got released. You didn't say, hey, man, can you let me go? Can you trade me? You have no value, dude. You were terrible. Oh, my God. Remember in the I'm trying to think of it was a Cardinals game. It was Michael Wilson out of Stanford like 2 years ago. They put Ambry in, and the Cardinals started jumping up and down. Number 20 is on the field. Can we attack him immediately? And then literally one play, Michael Wilson, the former Stanford wide receiver, scores a touchdown in the corner of the end zone, and Ambry's not even in the shot. Like, dude, that's what you're tweeting? Really? Like, if I knew Ambry Thomas, I'd be like, really? The only one asking to get up out of there? Dude, you didn't ask. They said, leave. No. I quit. No, you were fired, dude. You didn't quit. You got cut. You were awful. You were a waste of a third-round pick. They picked you ahead of Amon-Ra St. Brown, dude. I mean, look at this list. Look at this list. Every player's better than you on that list. Every single one. But you were asking to get up and out of here. Oh, they had Ernest Jones right now, the guy right behind you. Amon-Ra, Dahlman, Bynum, like all those guys. Even guys I didn't even highlight. Dan Moore, who just got massively overpaid from Pittsburgh, the right tackle that now is going to play left tackle in Carolina. He's better than you. And he's got a terrible new contract. Ramondre Stevenson is better than you. Like, there's a bunch of guys. Bobby Brown of the Rams, not the singer. 117's better than you. 113 Derek Barnes is better than you. Dude, seriously. God, you were looking to get up out of here. They cut you. They're like, get out. No, I wanted to leave. Okay. Thanks. I mean, seriously, some people, they just have no idea what, like, the actual perception of themselves. Are you laughing because you're joking? Oh my God. Wow. Anyway, all right. I'm done with him. I had to play that. I had to show that real quick. Tolbert and Steve, we've already talked about. I'm going to go out to the comments line in just a second. Did I get to everything yesterday too? I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, I mean, this is the hit right here. I've played this week. I've showed this week, but I'm going to do it again. So offensively, I think they're going to be fine. It's defense here, and Yadam's gone too. Ike Yadam went back to the Saints, I believe. So the only guys right now, Mustafa, Green, Lenore, Warner, Bosa. That's what the defense looks like. So they need, red is bad, green is good. You can see Hargrave missed all those games. Greenlaw missed all those games. That's why Greenlaw's not a Niner. I get it. Hafunga missed all those games. So the defense, yeah, they got a lot of work to do. There's no doubt. I can even show you. I showed you in the depth chart the other day, and that has Floyd on it. But that just shows you how bad they were defensively. That's what makes me laugh. Is everybody's like, "Oh my God, look at these guys they lost." Okay, Floyd's got a terrible grade there. You can see the whole defensive line. Really, the front seven. It's only Warner and Bosa that are any good. So that's that's what it is. The defense wasn't good anyway. That's what makes me laugh. Like, if it had been the defense of, a couple of years ago where they were really, really good and they took all these guys off the defense, you'd be going like, oh man, lost that guy. The defense sucked. They fired the defensive coordinator. They fired the assistant defensive coordinator. I'm not saying it's great where they are right now, and they need to go heavy defense in the draft, and they're not going to be able to get everybody in the draft. So they're going to, at some point, they're going to have to go to Jed and go, dude, we're going to have to spend more than like $2 million. We're going to have to get a couple of veterans in here who get cut by teams. And I just showed you too, there are some guys out there where I'm scratching my head going, okay, I know Asante Samuel Jr. is not the greatest, but he's better than what you got. He's better than Trey Brown. I don't know if he's delusional or is just asking for way too much money, but there are guys out there who could be on the 49ers and maybe should be on the 49ers. Anyway, I showed you the backyard already, and it has been released where Tom and Steve Young were in the backyard. And I would highly recommend. I watched the entire hour, and you'll get a lot of insight into what the 49ers are thinking at this point and what Steve thinks. Plus, maybe the most intriguing part is he talks about Brock Purdy, both in a positive and I wouldn't say a negative way, but Steve is a big proponent on the quarterbacks and their legs, not at the expense of winning from the pocket, because Steve will be the first one to tell you got to win from the pocket. And when Steve learned how to do that, and he was the combination of winning from the pocket and being able to get, as he calls them, those free yards by running. So that's not going to be Brock's MO a lot of the time, but it's a great interview and you should check it out. That is going on right now. And as a matter of fact, let me pop this up on the board for you. I'll make it really easy for you to subscribe to Bay Area Sports Collective. That's where I am. That's where Paulie and Tony are, and that's where Tom's show is, Tom Tolbert Show. If you click right there on Bay Area Sports Collective on the QR code, I'm fond of QR codes, you can subscribe right from your phone right now, and you don't even have to leave the show. Bay Area Sports Collective on YouTube, as well as John Lund Unleashed on YouTube. Make sure that you are subscribed to both of those things. You're also watching on Facebook, potentially this morning, on Twitch, at John Lund Radio, on X. Welcome to all there. And, of course, on Instagram at John Lund Radio. And you can follow me on any of those things. Or I'll be writing this weekend, in addition to doing the show tomorrow at 10 a.m., I'll be writing this weekend at johnlundunleashed.com. I got a couple of different thoughts. I've done so much Niners writing lately. I don't know. Maybe I'll still probably write a little bit. But I need to write on Steph, too. I mean, the 400. And if you are new to the program and if you are late to the program today, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'll get out to the chat line in just a second. Oh, there's a bunch of supers out there too. I got to hit up some supers. If you 100% want to get your thoughts on the screen, hit us up with a super and donate to the show. I'll get to supers in just one moment. But what we'll do after the show, and I say this every single day, not only do we hit it, we put it on the podcast, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your favorite podcasts. But also, if you hit us up later, I'll do the chapters. So after the show, what time is it right now? About 9:50. Chill in, I don't know, 10:15, 10:20, 10:30, depending on how we are. But then what I'll do is we'll hit the podcast, Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast. You go to John Lund Unleashed, etc. Or what you can do is I'll hit the chapters. And so you can stay on the show right now, and then you can do whatever you want. But we did a ton about Steph, as you can see on the chalkboard there. Happy birthday, Steph, 37. Mr. 4,000, that record will be broken. I broke down the math for you because I am such a great mathematician, tongue-in-cheek. Title contenders, that's what you can say about the Warriors now. I do believe they're title contenders. Jonathan Kuminga couldn't have had a better return to the lineup. I thought he was absolutely great, and what he said after the game was very, very mature. I think Jimmy is the best in-season acquisition for a Bay Area sports team since Fred Dean. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that. 49ers get an F from everybody in free agency. It's not who they lost to me. It's who they didn't sign. And I know you don't want to spend a bunch of money, but I think there were bargains to be had, better bargains to be had. And then I let you know what Mack Jones is and is not. I showed you the backyard from Tolbert and Steve, Bay Area Sports Collective, and we're at Lawrence Parsons, part of the program. But let me go out to the chat line and see what everybody's talking about real quick. Let's see. What else do we got? Are people boycotting X because of Elon? Is that what people are talking about? Let's see. Okay, we're good. What do we let's see. See, this is what I love about the random part of the program, because I like to make sure that we're talking about something, and I always like to get in on the conversation, but then right in the middle of things. Okay, I think that's good. Yeah, we're good. All right, let's get to the Lawrence Parsons thing. Let me play this for you. It's actually, I think it's just a tweet. But so what happened essentially yesterday was DeMarcus Lawrence said to Seattle media that he knew that the Cowboys would never win a Super Bowl, therefore he had to get out of there. And then Micah Parsons came back at him and all this kind of stuff. This is always fun. We always love this kind of stuff. So let me start at the bottom and go up. Oh, no. Right in the middle is where it started. It says, Dallas is my home, but I know for sure I'm not going to win a Super Bowl there. Micah Parsons saw it and said, that's what rejection and envy look like. This some clown shit. And then there's, of course, the clown emoji. And then DeMarcus Lawrence pops back, calling me a clown won't change the fact that I told the truth. Maybe if you spent less time tweeting and more time winning, I wouldn't have left. So those are two former teammates going at it back and forth. You know, this whole thing, and the only reason I wanted to bring it up, and by the way, these are the type of signings that Jed York, and I don't blame him, these are the kind of signings that Jed York did not want. DeMarcus Lawrence, I looked up the numbers. He's 33 years old. He's been a very good player for the Dallas Cowboys for a very, very long time. But he played in 4 games last year, got a $42 million contract, got $18 million guaranteed. He's going to be on the Seahawks for at least 2 years. He might be ineffective this year because, again, he played 4 games. He was 33 years old. And Jed York doesn't want to pay for something someone used to do. Not what they're going to do, what they used to do. And so he's trying to stay away from contracts like that. And I'm fine, but I think they're mid-level guys. Anyway, Seattle signs DeMarcus Lawrence. The only reason I bring it up is because they're in the division, and some people are like, they got DeMarcus Lawrence. We could use that across from Nick Bosa. And yeah, I get it. But Joey Bosa was cheaper, and I would probably rather have him. Lawrence is still good against the run, not against the pass as much. Now, maybe he'll be good. I don't know that. But he's 33, and these are the kind of signings he's trying to stay away from. So I really don't have a problem not signing DeMarcus Lawrence. But the other part of that thing that intrigued me was, first of all, you love Twitter beef, right? Twitter beef, X beef, whatever you want to call it. Everybody loves that kind of stuff. So everybody goes at it with each other. That's fine. But this whole illusion of guys can't do anything off the field. like, again, I was a beat writer and I know what it's like to be around NBA players. And this is a little different, but especially when I was living in Portland, there was a shoot around at 10 o'clock in the morning. And I would go in to try to talk to the opposition because I had talked to plenty of the Blazers players. And so, but Nike was there. And so the shoot around, again, that they don't do very much anymore, but the shoot around usually be at like 10 o'clock in the morning for a 7 o'clock start. So I'd go down and I'd try to talk to players. And when it was in Portland, it was really difficult because you could talk to the coach and the coach would hang around. But then a lot of the players were Nike guys and they would take a bus. Nike would bring, and not even a bus, it was like a limo. The Nike would bring a limo down. Beaverton was probably 20 or 25 minutes where Nike's headquarters were from the Rose Quarter, which is where the Blazers would play. So you're talking 20, 25 minutes. They'd limo a bunch of guys up there that were Nike guys, and even guys who weren't. If you wanted to go, you could go. You just kind of had to hide your face because you were like, different shoe brand or whatever. And they'd all go into Nike. And I had been in there because a cousin of mine was with Nike. And so because you were related to someone, you could go in there and shop too. And you'd walk in there and these guys just were taking racks of things and just, they were sending them home. And so point is that here you got Draymond doing a podcast, for example. Well, who cares? They're sitting in a room all day long. That's what they're doing, especially when they're on the road. They got nothing to do. They're either going to play video games or they're going to do a podcast, or these guys went to Nike for a few hours, or guys would go, there were certain places where there was lunch places they liked, or in Atlanta that you had the shoe place, or like there's all these different, like they're going to do something. And so you're getting mad. It's like you're tweeting too much. You're doing a podcast too much. You're like, they've got other interests. They're doing other things. It doesn't hurt that Draymond Green's doing a podcast. It always cracks me up. Like during the playoffs, if the Warriors start to lose, this is going to become a thing. Like ESPN will talk about it. Dumb Fox daytime shows will talk about it. Fans then will, of course, be sheep and go, bah, and they'll talk about it. And it's like, oh, he shouldn't be doing a podcast. What, like right now? Like, is this physically demanding for me to do? Because if it were, I wouldn't be doing it. You know me. I'm in shape. It's just the shape of a pear. So here, as I sit, I can tell you firsthand, this is not physically demanding. My throat might get a little dry every now and then. I might need a drink of something. I keep something here. I got coffee. I don't know. But I'm just flapping my gums. I'm not doing anything. It is not physically demanding. I can guarantee you right now, for a professional athlete, this would not be physically demanding. Outside of your jaw might hurt, your throat might get a little dry, something like that. But right now, not physically demanding. So just saying, as they got into it, and I don't know if it was that. It's fun Twitter beef. Calling him a clown, he leaves. He's not wrong. Dallas is my home, but I know for sure I'm not going to win a Super Bowl there. What did they do? I mean, they're seriously, again, free agency is not everything. I'm just simply saying that the maybe the worst team at free agency would be the Cowboys. Would they not be? Would the Cowboys not be the worst free agent team? Pretty much. They pretty much are. But anyway, I'm just saying, like, what conversation is going on right now? Because like I said, this is the random part of the show, and I click on this thing. I have no idea, because if you're staying out of the conversation, I got to know what's going on here. My God, man, just crazy. Let's see. Let's do this real quick. Yeah, that's a lot better. All right. What else do we have? Oh, I see where you're going. Okay, we got a lot of Elon conversations there, and I've promised people that I will stay completely out of politics, or I will lose listeners one after the other, after the other, after the other, after the other. All right. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, that's happening. No, I mean, come on, man. I mean, Ambry Thomas is saying that he wanted up out of San Francisco. It's like, bro, come on, man. We know what's going on. You kidding me? All right, let me do this. Let's see what else. Do I have anything else that I'm missing other than that conversation about Teslas and Elon? All right, let's get to this part of it. I don't know what you think. I'm a big fan of Ted Lasso. I just think that I have to go back and watch that last one. I thought that was going to be the last Ted Lasso. They say it's going to be the last Ted Lasso. Then Jason Sudeikis, who I'm a really massive fan of, not only through Ted Lasso, but just everything, says in the new season, Ted will coach a women's team. I could be wrong in all of this, but it's like it is the jumping of the shark portion of the show, and they're just doing it for money. I'm sure Jason Sudeikis gets a boatload of money to do this show, and it's a really good show, and has been a really good show through 3 seasons. Most people who watch it, I'm not a soccer guy. That's fine if you like soccer. We can go into that whole debate. I don't know why people who are a fan of a lesser sport think that they want to just pound and pound and pound. You're going to like our sport. I swear you're going to like our sport. It's like, look, it's been hundreds of years. We're not a soccer country. It's cool if you like it. It's not for me, but it's totally cool. Like I think it's great. I've been down to tons of games in San Jose in the world's longest bar. It's fun. I'm not anti-soccer. I like that they have the food trucks there. I dig it. The whole thing is very, very cool, but it's just long term and doing hardcore on it. It's not for me, but that's cool. If you love it, great. Some people like to fish and hunt. That's not me, but I'm not ripping people for it. And people who are fishers and like to fish and hunt don't often come up to me and go, no, you've got to love it. You just got to come with me and do it again. Like, I don't know why in sports it's totally different from those kind of things. Like if you have a special interest and you like it, you're not pounding the table a lot of times for someone to like it. Like whatever, man, you like it. You like it. You like the golf, cool. You don't, cool. You like the hunt, cool. You like the fish, great. Like nobody's ever, but when it comes to like soccer and hockey and everything, everyone's always pounding the table. Like, you got to like this. It's like, okay. But anyway, I digress. So when it comes to Ted Lasso, I'm in a weird way, I'm kind of disappointed because I kind of like, okay, that's 3 really good seasons. I like the show. It's good. And then I don't know, I could be wrong in this. It seems to me that if I remember it right, that season 3 was supposed to be it and that they weren't going to have a season 4. And then when I hear situations like this, I think, you know what, everybody just got paid a boatload of money and they're just going back for the money, which there's nothing wrong with that. And I get business. I completely understand it. But I look at it and I'm like, and it's, it's kind of like when a guy hangs on too long in sports. Like, I'm not going to remember the end. I don't remember Namath as a Ram. I don't care that Jordan was a Wizard. Whatever. I mean, there's certain guys, it's like, hey, I get it. You're trying to milk another year out of it. When a player is really, really great, you don't even remember that. Hakeem Olajuwon was a Raptor. Go look it up. Hakeem Olajuwon played for the Raptors. It's like, you don't remember that. You remember doing the Dream Shake with the Rockets. That's it. Like, I don't care. I don't remember. Patrick Ewing was a Sonic with all the ice packs on his knees. Like, I don't remember Patrick Ewing as a Sonic, but I remember that one picture. They had like 92 ice packs on himself. So there was that. So anyway, if Ted Lasso season 4 sucks, I'm not going to remember it like that. But there you go. So he was on New Heights apparently and said that they're going to do a season 4 and he's going to coach a women's team. So look, I like the show. I'll watch the show. My wife and I enjoyed it. We kind of were late on it. I think we jammed through the first couple of seasons and then we watched the third when everybody else did. And then we thought, for some reason, I thought it was over. Like everybody that was on the talk shows and that was so hot and I forgot the woman's name that's the owner of that team, but I remember she was on some late night show and said, yeah, we're done. We're done. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, you're done. Yeah, I get it. Totally get it. So there's that. Tolbert Steve we did. Lawrence Parsons we did. Ted Lasso we just did. Random we've done throughout. Let me just hit this up real quick from a Giants perspective. This was yesterday. Jeff Young is the guy that always puts these up, and I love it. God, Hunter Bishop is still around. Oh, my God. Really? Hunter Bishop, former first-round pick at Arizona State. He's got to be nearing 30 now, doesn't he? But that's not the point. Point is that, again, from a pitching standpoint, and while spring training means nothing whatsoever, we talked about, I think I had the video, but then it wasn't working, whatever the case. Verlander's humping it up there about 96, 97, getting excited. We know what Logan Webb is all about. Don't care what he does in the spring because last year had a 10.97 ERA and was just fine, thank you very much, in the regular season. Robbie Ray yesterday, though, coming off the TJ, and I get nervous, and we play the what-if game. What if Robbie Ray? What if Verlander? What if this? What if that? What if Birdsong? What if Kyle Harrison? But Robbie Ray, again, with a encouraging outing, 4 1/3, 2 earned, 8 strikeouts. And we get enamored with strikeouts. I understand that, but 2 strikeouts an inning, just about. I know there would be no math on this show, but still, Robbie Ray, 4 1/3, 8 strikeouts, not bad. So that's what I would say. Robbie Ray, encouraging. So while I don't overvalue spring numbers or anything like that, other than, like I said, Garrett Cole gets hurt for the Yankees, I'm listening. You have my attention. I don't want any injuries. Just get about your business, and then let's get this thing going. And we're only a couple of weeks away from this thing actually starting up. But to just kind of give you a little bit of, because spring training is fine, and I'm not going to overdo spring training. And once the Giants hit, they'll be in the order as we talk about. I'm not on the radio anymore, so I don't have to talk about the Giants because they're the flagship. We talk about what's compelling on this show. If you're new around here, we just talk about what's compelling. It could be in and out of sports. It could be whatever. But we just try to talk about what's compelling. And once the season starts, if the Giants are compelling, I'll talk about them. But Robbie Ray getting 8 strikeouts in 4 innings, what Justin Verlander did the other day, and the velocity looks really, really good. And the slider in the dirt looked really, really good. And I don't know what kind of hitters he's going against the A's. I think a guy was wearing like 83. And even though guys are wearing different numbers all the time and you can't really tell, but 83 is a spring training number. And he struck him out with a slider down, but still, it looked good. So I can give you that. Logan Webb is Logan Webb. Birdsong has gotten it up there upwards of 98 miles an hour. Pretty good. I still am stuck on this whole thing that if you put Hicks in and he's your 7 and Duvall's your 8 and Walker's your 9, now you're cooking with gas, 7, 8, 9. I don't know what your lineup's going to look like. I'm still iffy on the rotation, even though I like what Ray is doing and what Verlander is doing, but you're 7, 8, 9 set in stone. You don't need Hicks for the rotation. Because if you look at it, Webb is better, Verlander is better, Ray is better, Birdsong is better. Harrison you're going to have in the rotation. There's 5. Landon Root people are all excited about, and he's not going to be in the rotation. He'll be in the bullpen. He's probably he's your long guy out of the bullpen, Landon Root. He's nice, but I'm not going to put him at a Hicks. But still, Hooks, I don't want Hicks to be 5 and fly every time out like last year, which taxes the pen. Speaking of the pen, make him the 7th inning guy. That's all I'm saying about that. So, look, go back to being what you were if you're going to be in contention at all, which I doubt. You still got the pitching is the way that it's going to go, and you've got that bullpen. And if you put him 7th and you start getting excited about this starting rotation, okay, I can live with that. I want him to compete. So there's a little bit of an update from spring training. Just wanted to give you that as well. But nice job by Robbie Ray yesterday. I would agree with that. The Harrison thing, and I've said this forever, and I keep disappearing from the screen, and we'll fix that in shows after. But I've said this from the beginning. I said this last year, especially when we had him out on the patio with KMBR. Birdsong, man, is an impressive dude. I mean, just impressive dude. And that's a great call right there. The Yankees are desperate. I mean, this is what you want to do. Every team in the league, I'm sure, just went to the Yankees and went, "Hey, you're out of Garrett Cole." Now, look, I'm not trading Logan Webb there, but you want to give me Jason Dominguez for Justin Verlander? I'm listening. They're not going to do that, but still, they're going to be desperate. And the Yankees are going to see how their rotation goes, but it probably is not going to end up well. And then, and I agree with you there, and it's good to see you, Steve. Thank you. I hadn't said good morning to you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Not a compelling offseason, but if they can at least get something right, which is if the rotation, if, and you know my theory on ifs, but if they can get their rotation going, this team, then okay, the offense isn't going to be great. The offense never is in this ballpark, generally speaking. But you don't need to force Jordan Hicks into this rotation. What's his best role? And then that's how I look at teams, no matter what the sport is. And teams talk about this all the time. They're really good teams. What they do is they don't talk about what a guy cannot do. What can this person not do? They look at a guy and they go, what can he do for us? What's his best role for us? They're not hurting for depth in the rotation, at least from what I can see so far. If Ray and Verlander are what they're supposed to be, and obviously Webb is what he's supposed to be, there's your 3. Harrison, you're not giving up on. He's going to be in the rotation, and I agree with you. I'm not as compelled with him as I am with Birdsong, but if you had Birdsong and Harrison, that's 5. Landon Roop is a long guy, that's 6. Where's Hicks best utilized? That's what I'm saying, is that when really great teams, what they do is they say, okay, how do we best utilize our team? How can we put our best players in a position to be great? Hicks is a 7th inning guy. That's what his best role on this team is, because then he can just go balls out and throw 102. Damn, 7th inning, 8th inning, Duvall. Hope he's better, but, his stuff plays. And then Ryan Walker absolutely deserves to be the closer on this team. Now 7, 8, 9, and you're playing 6-inning games. That's the goal, because there's like, okay, 5 and 5, 5 and 5, 5 and 5. But you can get like Verlander, Ray, even off TJ, and Logan Webb, and he's going to give you more than that. But those guys should go 6. So now 3 of your rotation guys are at least going 6. And like I said, Birdsong's big badass. So Harrison's the only one really that. And like I said, I've said it from the beginning. And this spring training is one thing we haven't talked about a whole lot. And I didn't see Harrison's last start, but he's throwing it up there like 91, 92. Ugh. I don't love that. And I'm not a slave to the gun. It doesn't have to be going up there like 97, 98, 99 miles an hour. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is that I don't want him going up there 91, 92. And he's a 2-pitch guy. And I've said this for a long time. I don't know that Kyle Harrison doesn't end up in the bullpen. There's a good call right there. Yeah. Like Moss was a 9er. I know that because I was at that Super Bowl and there was a ball that went over his head that I think it was Ed. Did Ed Reed pick it off? That Ed Reed picked off. And I'm like, come on, Randy, right through your hands. Not saying you're not one of the best receivers of all time, maybe third, but that day it was like, wow. Yeah, exactly. It's like, dude, who asked your opinion, dude? You're a third round bomb of a pick. And then, like I said, I had that up there yesterday just because it was 2021 and we were talking about the quarterbacks. And then I went through the rest of their draft in 2021 and I was like, oh my God, Ambry Thomas. Look at the guys that were taking it in. And then he lips off. Like, bro, seriously? You got to be kidding me. You really? Anyway, we're approaching 2 hours and we will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. So let's see what we've got on we got to make sure that we hit up the supers. If at any time you want to hit us up with a super, that would be amazing. And you donate to the show in that way, and you guarantee 100% that you get up on the board. Let's go through some of these. Hi, Todd. By the way, first of all, it's great to have you. Thanks for all the time you put in. Half Bailey's, Jameson's. Yeah, that's right. Drop into a Guinness and chug it. Much love. I wonder if half Bailey's, I have that. Jameson's, of course, I have that. I don't have any Guinness, but I do have something close. But you're right. That's not an Irish car bomb if you don't. Yeah, you're right. Bailey's Irish whiskey, glass of Guinness. Much love to you back, Todd. Thank you very much. What is everyone's thoughts on the Irish car bomb? Fan of it? Not a fan of it? I haven't done an Irish car bomb in probably forever. What's the one where you drop what is it? Now I'm not, I can't remember the shot that I was talking about. I'll think of it in just a second, but thank you very much for the clarification on that. I'm glad that you're here. I thought you might not be here. Light the beam. Go A's, Daniel. Rio Pell, like he's got swole arms, not a belly. No, I did. Like I said, I did the procedure yesterday. It was absolutely great. The stem cell. Oh man, I'm hoping I feel better because, like I said, I got shoulder issues, and I'm hoping I feel better, but it takes a little while. But I'm gonna feel better, and I'll let you know about it. I'm sorry about your Kings. You're a good man. Harry Johnson, everybody. Harry Johnson. I made it. What's up, fam? Thank you, Harry Johnson. Very nice to see you. Harry, by the way, told us the other day, because he's in Arizona, that he has to get up an hour earlier now because they don't observe daylight savings time. And so therefore he had to get up an hour earlier. It was a 9 o'clock start for him, and now it's a 8 o'clock start for him. And so it's very cool. And there's our friend John Holmes. Thanks for a great show and putting up with my fourth grader who need to get your bartender buddy. Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad that you brought that up, John Holmes, because like I said, I'm not a one-man show. That's not fair whatsoever. We have a lot of people working behind the scenes. Jesse, my friend, is really, really good. He's amazing. My wife does a tremendous job. She's much better at the sales aspect of this than me. So when I go into a meeting, I'm kind of like Chris Farley. I'm pretty much a dope, with Callahan, but so she helps me out in that regard and does a lot of other great stuff behind the scenes that we don't even know about. She's awesome. So anyway, we're in the process of working on the bartender thing so that every month we can say, okay, what are we going to do? Like right now, like Monday is St. Patrick's Day. I got to get in there. We got to talk whiskeys. He knows, my friend Chad, who we're going to be bringing on, knows whiskeys like nobody. I mean, it's just awesome. And we're getting close to a sponsor that is big into whiskey. I can just tell you that. I can tell you that right now. We're going to be adding more. So anyway, thank you, John Holmes. Look, man, I just like to have fun. So I love that the whole community, John Holmes, great part of the community, Harry, Daniel, Todd, just everybody. Everybody's so cool. And we've had so much fun building this whole thing. And I think we're over like 4,100. So like I say this every day, and I'm not just saying it's because of you guys, man, because if we weren't growing like we were growing, I'd go out and get a real job. There's no way. But I wouldn't like to do that, but there you go. I love talking bourbon and whiskey and everything else. I got to fix that thing where I pop off the screen every time. I don't know why it's doing that. Yeah, I tried it a little bit earlier. We'll fix it later. No big deal. It works. Did somebody give me a San Ramon bar suggestion? Because we don't, let's see, right there. It's called O'Kane's in San Ramon, Irish car bombs. Really, O'Kane's. I'm going to have to look that up because I'm close to that. O'Kane's. I'm not aware of it. You have to tell. Yeah, I'll have to look that up today. Maybe we'll go over there and have an Irish car bomb, or maybe Monday or something like that. It does sound like a lot of work to me. I'd like to have just somebody make it for me. That would be really nice. I have no problem with that whatsoever. And I do like I don't mind Boilermakers. Yeah, Boilermakers. That's not bad. I don't know. Beer's beer, and if I'm going to do something with a beer, I just take a shot on the side of it. Bourbon and a beer is really nice. Lots of places have specials for that. I just do bourbons and beers, things like that. This is kind of what I like to do. All right, anything else we got to do today? Did I miss anything? Flaming rum punch. I know what rum punch is. What is flaming rum punch, Tommy? What is it? What else do we have here? Anything else? Anything else? Am I missing anything? We've gone over everything. It is episode 88. Just to let you know really quickly, Steph's birthday, 37 is today. Mr. 4000, he hits his 4003. We've played that for you this morning. Will it be broken? We did the math. It's probably going to be broken at some point because it would take, right now, for example, I just said this, Anthony Edwards, 4.1 threes per game. If you did that over about a 15-year career and played 80 games, you'd have 4,200 three-pointers. So somebody's going to come in just from the beginning of their career. And Steph probably by the end will have 5,000 of these things, but that can still be broken. So, yeah, it will be. It's not going to be one of those Cal Ripken type of things or Joe DiMaggio kind of things or something like that that won't be broken. Title contenders, that's what I'm calling the Warriors now. I have upped it to title contenders. Jonathan Kuminga couldn't have been more impressive in his return. Jimmy Butler, as I'm going over the chalkboard, is the best free agent acquisition in season since Fred Dean, and that's saying something. What Mack Jones is what I was talking about. 49ers have gotten an F so far from everybody. To me, it's not who they lost, it's who they didn't get. Tolbert and Steve, I showed you from the backyard. That is up at Bay Area right now at Bay Area Sports Collective. So make sure you subscribe there, and you'll see the interview with Tom and Steve, and you'll get alerts. DeMarcus Lawrence versus Micah Parsons was fun. Ted Lasso's going to have a fourth season. We've done tons of random. I didn't have a caboose for you today. Sorry. Did I? Hang on. I thought I did. I thought I had something for you. Hang on. No, I guess I didn't. Wow, that's my bad. We've already done the hats. We've done that plenty. We've done the hats, and they're selling for $1,000. I don't know if anybody's buying them, but they are selling for $1,000. Now, whether it's saying that they are actually selling versus what they are actually going for. And again, let me just show you this before we get out of here on this Friday. There is the backyard of Steve's. You absolutely have to go over to Bay Area Sports Collective to check that out. What is Bay Area Sports Collective? You may be saying to yourself, that is from the Chronicle a couple of weeks ago. That is with Tom, I, and Paulie and Creative Tony. And I believe are they going to be on at 11 o'clock today? And that's what the logo looks like. So if you're at YouTube and you're like, where is that? That's what the logo looks like. And that will let you know that you are in the right place. So there you go. All right. Thanks as always. Make sure that you are subscribing, please, on YouTube. That is John Lund Unleashed. Please also on Bay Area Sports Collective. Thanks for watching today. And you can watch in a lot of different places on a lot of different platforms like Instagram at John Lund Radio, X, where I send out a ton of stuff at John Lund Radio. So please follow me over there, because what I do is when I write, like I'm writing over the weekend at johnlundunleashed.com, make sure that you are following, because I release the things there. You can also check us out on Facebook, my personal Facebook, which you can follow John Lund, and also on Facebook, John Lund Unleashed. For all of it, just go to johnlundunleashed.com. Anything else? Any breaking news? I think we're good. It's been a fun week, man. Really fun. We had free agency. We had a great time. The week really flew by. Capsuled by Steph and his 4,000 on his 37th birthday. Everybody have a wonderful weekend, but we're not going anywhere, because tomorrow, Saturday morning, 10 a.m., we'll be back. We do like a quick hour on Saturday just to recap and make sure nothing missed us over the weekend. And do remember, if you have those alerts on, then you won't miss anything. Because if anything breaks over the weekend, if the Niners have a Mack Jones, by the way, some people are hitting me up like, well, Mack Jones, you got to go live. And I was like, no. Not going to go live on Mack Jones. But if there's a big story, a big signing, something that happens over the weekend, absolutely. So Saturday at 10 a.m., we will be here, but we will certainly be here as well if things break over the weekend as far as anything else is concerned. That's big. It's got to be bigger than Mack Jones. It's got to be bigger than Mack Jones. And one more time, remember my good friends at Riopel Cosmetic Surgery and Laser Center right there in San Ramon. Worth the drive, man. And I had it yesterday. So if you click right there on the QR code, yesterday, I did the stem cell. My wife's been doing it for weeks. She's feeling great. It's over a month now for her. She's feeling great. I did the stem cell yesterday. I will keep you up to date on my pain level, but I expect it to be awesome. And then, as I told you, low T. I have low T, and they fixed me all up. The quick blood test, real easy. Yep, you got low T. They give you the right dosage. It's not, nope. It's not bonds. It's not illegal. Completely legal. You got low T. You're irritable. You're tired. You can't lose the weight. You're like, what's going on? Maybe your sexual drive is down, whatever the case may be. Low T is going to be the culprit there. And so all you got to do is click on that QR code. You make the appointment. And maybe you've heard this from other people who have done the Low T, that it takes, you got to go in there every week, or you got to join some kind of a club or something like that. You don't have to do any of that. It's just a quick procedure. You're going to be set for months at a time. You go in there like twice a year. That's all you do. It's really, really easy, and it is worth it. You're like, no, I don't have it. You probably got Low T if you're feeling tired and all those different things that you always hear about with it. It's as simple as it gets, and I've done it with other places. You do that Low T, you get that one shot, you get that one procedure. It's really, really quick and easy. Click on the QR code right there and get yourself an appointment. Tell Dr. Riopel I set you over. So whether it is for the stem cell, which both my wife and I are doing now, or you've got Low T and you need testosterone treatments, that's the place to go. Plus, Riopel, they'll do everything that cosmetic surgeon and laser center will do. Check them out today. Riopel Cosmetic Surgery and Laser Center, fine sponsor of the program. All right, before I go, I always like to make sure, because somebody might slip something in there and then I didn't see them, and then I'm like, make sure we get all the supers going. All right, I think we're good to go. All right, man. Great day today. Great week. Thank you for supporting the show, supporting the sponsors, and hanging out. We have built an amazing community. We keep growing every single day, and it's all because of you. Have a great Friday. We'll see you tomorrow on the Saturday edition of the show on Unleashed. Have a great
Thanks for hanging out with John Lund Unleashed. We'll try to be better next time, though I wouldn't hold my breath. Please like and subscribe on the John Lund Unleashed Pod YouTube channel. Watch live shows weekdays at 8 a.m. on YouTube, Instagram, and X. And make sure to have your alerts on for shows throughout the day or night. All things Lund can be found at johnlundunleashed.com. johnlundunleashed.com.
Goodbye!